very much in favor of the counting of points.
Does it work for you? No.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Run Through, your favorite figure skating podcast, where we talk about all the things that make us kiss, make us cry, and make us be thrown, which is indecent for a woman to be doing. Inelegant and indecent.
I've probably been indecent a few times too.
Listen, times change. Sometimes we need more indecent women out there. Now, Kirsten Moore Towers, our incredible Pairs Lore host, part 1, part 2, and now the grand finale of part 3 Pairs Lore. Kirsten, how are you feeling? I'm feeling on top of the world. I'm very excited for this part 3.
I'm excited too. Part 3, though, you both are going to know a lot about part 3. So I feel like this is going to be more of a conversation than me taking over like the last 2. But I think there are still some things we're all going to learn. And we'll revisit.
And we've said that whoa,
Yeah.
She really took over. So this is so welcomed. A welcome change, right?
I believe you told me I'm the boss at least 3 times via text. And you can't say that to a pair girl if you don't want them to be the boss.
No, and that's why I've said it to you, because I do. I'm ready to be the student, the employee.
Perfect. All right. Well, should we get started?
We should.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
We finished Lore episode 2, I believe, with the 2010 Olympics and Worlds. Correct?
Correct.
But when I was researching for Lore episode 3, I remembered something that happened in February 2010 at Four Continents, and we must go back. Okay? It's in the pair event.
I've always wanted to go back to Jeongju, Korea.
You know what? Okay, I'm going to stop there. Did you win that event?
I did. Not
I
the
remember.
Pairs event.
So
Not
that's
the
why
Pairs
he's always
event.
wanted to go back.
Yes.
I remember that. Do you remember the 4-hour bus ride from the airplane?
How could I forget? It was one of the saddest filled bus rides ever because it was a bunch of people who just didn't qualify for the Olympics.
Yeah, that's true.
And the first thing that we got, I remember, like at the check-in, was like they give you like the program and your credential, and we all had this like very thin pink fleece jacket.
Yes, which I wore for years and years and years. But you explaining all this to me reminded me that it was not, in fact, 2010. It was 2011. I'm so sorry.
In Taipei.
Yes,
because
it was.
at that Four Continents, we went to some tower and got postcards.
Yes, we did.
But you still maintain that it was a bunch of people who just missed the Olympics.
Well, the people that were there that I'm referring to, oh no, one team did go to the Olympics.
Yeah, some of the people here did go.
Yeah, but I wasn't one of them.
Either.
Nor was Adam.
No.
So
Nor was I.
That was a great conversation about 2010 Four Continents, but we're going to skip ahead to 2011 Four Continents. Maybe I should leave it in the order that it exists, do you think? Or should I just tell you what
No, tell it as it goes. This is better this way. You're in a pink fleece jacket.
This is
2011.
This is how we're starting Lore episode 3. Amanda Evora and Mark Ladwig are competing in this event. I should have known it wasn't 2010 because they did go to the Olympics in 2010. Also at this event, Paige Lawrence and Rudy Sweegers of Canada. They are like small town Saskatchewan team. They train with their first coach forever. They never leave. They like make a point to stay. Eventually they bring in Lyndon Johnston, who's Canadian, but coaches in Florida to help them. They're at this Four Continents competition, as am I, with my partner at the time, Dylan Moskovich. We're watching in the stands. Paige and Rudy, myself and Dylan, and Amanda and Mark are skating. And while they're skating, his heel snaps when he does a triple toe loop. It totally like snaps off. He can't skate anymore. He falls down because his skate
heel
breaks.
Of his boot. Okay.
Boot.
I thought
Yes.
you meant the heel attached to his
Oh,
body.
sorry. No, not
And I
his
was-
body. His
Okay.
body is intact, but his
Whoa.
skate boot has snapped. I remember it being the blade, but that is not factual. It's his boot heel that snaps off. And Rudy Swiegers, who's in the stand sitting beside me, races down the stairs, which is like, you kind of got to go the back way. Like, you can't just get to the rink. He races down the stairs with his skate and gives his right skate to, it might have been left skate, actually, I'm not sure. He gives one of his skates to Mark. Mark elects to keep the other of his own skate. He's tying it up. All of this has to happen within 3 minutes or they get disqualified. Within 3 minutes, Rudy has managed to race his ass down the stairs, give Mark the skate. Mark ties the skate, get back on the ice, and the rest of us are holding our breath because he has to still pick up Amanda in a lift. They have to still do a lift on one skate that's his and one skate that's not his. And to give you like a frame of reference, I don't know how people do things everywhere, but anywhere that I've skated or taught pairs, when you get new boots and blades, you like maybe don't lift that day. You like, or twist. You like figure out your life for a minute, and you maybe will like lift and twist the next day or a few days later. So putting
what
on,
if you lifted and twisted within 30 seconds?
honestly, it worked out for him. Like, we're holding our breath, he's lifting her, he's throwing her. They do decently, and he's able to repair his boot before the long program so he can wear his own boot to skate the long.
I completely forgot about this.
Me too. Until,
Wow.
and I mean, I clearly still forgot because I thought it was in 2010. It was in 2011. But nonetheless, I felt like, because we're not going to really talk about either of those teams too much in the lore series, but that just felt like such a huge part of like pair skating history that you must know.
Well, and it's
go
so
back and
pairs.
watch if you can. It is so pairs. And kudos to Amanda. I would have been freaking out if someone's about to pick me up with someone else's skate on. Ain't no way. So
No.
they just,
It's indecent.
that is truly indecent and inelegant. You can't do it.
Inelegant. God. Maybe by the end of this, I'll figure it out.
Have you guys seen that TikTok where the Indian woman has the cat where she dresses her in a sari?
No.
And she's
No.
saying to the cat, "Yes, we wear this because you are very decent." It's
No.
I think I'm on the
amazing.
same TikTok as Adam because I knew his ones, but I
Yeah,
don't
we
know
don't-
yours.
I highly
Yeah.
recommend this TikTok. I think you can look up like very decent cat and you will find it. It's so cute. It's like the child of this woman posts it and says it's like my mom with the cat she said she didn't want. And she's now like fallen in love with this cat. And she's dressing the cat in a sari and is talking to the cat about why we have to wear a sari to
It
be
makes
very
sense.
decent. And
Yeah.
every time Adam is saying indecent, I'm thinking about the cat being very decent. And it's just,
But that's good.
Anyway.
Yeah, it's like same. I get it.
it's exactly the same.
It's very same.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to backtrack because that was 2011 and that was my bad. So coming off of Worlds in 2010, Peng and Tong have won, followed by Aliona and Robin, and Yuko and Alexander. We know that Yuko gets surgery in 2010. We talked about that. We hope that her shoulder stops falling out of its socket, but spoiler alert, it doesn't. So that's a bummer. We move to the 2011 season, where we will see the rise of Tatiana Volosozhar and Maxim Trankov. We know Max from having skated with former partner Maria Murkotova. We know they hated each other. It was no bueno. Tatiana, we've seen, and I've spoken about her name as it pertains to her results at the Worlds and Olympic Championships. She skated for Ukraine with Stanislav Morozov. Tatiana started skating at the age of 4, and as I mentioned, she's Ukrainian-born and is the 4-time Ukrainian champion with her former partner Stanislav. In 2007, they were able to place fourth at Worlds, so they did have some success on the senior ranks. Following the 2010 Olympics, Morozov decides to retire. Tatiana wants to continue. Their coach was Ingo Stoyer, by the way, in Chemnitz, but they've stopped skating together. Ingo is maybe still
Secret
reporting
police.
to secret
He's in
police.
the secret
We don't
police.
know.
Mhm.
Yes.
We don't know. Maxim Trankov is born in Russia. His parents wanted him to be involved in a sport. He chose skating. At age 15, he was invited to St. Petersburg to skate pairs with Irina Ulanova, who, as I mentioned in Lore 1, is the daughter of Smirnova and Ulanov, who are the team that got together. Ulanov used to skate with Rodnina and then decided he wanted to be in love, remember?
Yes,
So
and have a child. Yes.
They fell in love and never won anything, but they have a child. I'm just
Right.
kidding. They
They
came
choose
second.
love over winning.
Second a lot of times. That's really good. But Trankov, this was crazy. I didn't know this. Trankov didn't have a lot of money, so he and fellow pair skater Alexander Smirnov, who we know, lived at the rink, sleeping in the stands or in the coach's room. He told his parents he was staying in a dormitory so they wouldn't worry. After about a year and a half, he moved in with soldiers who had like quarters under the rink, and he was given one free cafeteria meal a day. Eventually, after 3 years, he was able to get his own apartment.
Oh my god!
Oh my
Crazy.
god.
Crazy.
That's
Volosozhar
crazy.
had no
and
idea
Trankov-
about that.
No, me neither. I had no idea. So Volosozhar and Trankov begin skating together in the spring of 2010, pretty quickly after the 2010 season. Trankov would later be quoted saying he was interested in skating with Tatiana since 2006, and since we know that he and Maria really had no love lost, it was a tempting option for him, but he's quoted saying that he felt like Tatiana always looked happy in her partnership, and so never really tried to venture into that.
After they were fourth at Worlds, they like skated in New Jersey with Nikolai Morozov when I was working with him. And like I knew that them as a couple, and then I knew that Stas was like, I can't do this because he could not do a triple toe to save his life.
Another
Tough.
stop on Adam's Forrest Gump life
Yeah, that I'm always
in figure
hello,
skating.
right there.
He's trained with everyone at crucial times in their careers,
Mm-hmm.
Well, as you should.
As I did.
as you did.
As I did. But yes,
Well-
I remember that he was retiring. They moved, and then he was coaching them for a while before, they must have broken up. And then she was like, would eventually, marry Max. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
You continue.
No,
Bye-bye.
that's great. I also knew them at the time to be in a relationship. I knew them to be married, but there's nothing about this online. So I was like, maybe I didn't know that. But I'm just looking up Stanislav now, and he is Russian. So I wonder if that was a citizenship marriage. Were they actually together?
Maybe they were common law married.
I don't know the answer. But I knew them to be in a relationship as well. And then it seemed like they split both personally and professionally very amicably because
Mhm.
Stanislav is on the coaching team
Yes.
of Tatiana and Max, which you don't do unless you're feeling okay with the
Yeah.
person,
Right.
I would say. Tatiana moves to Moscow to train with Max under Nina Moser, who we're going to talk about a lot. We've talked a lot about Tamara Moskvina. Tamara Moskvina is queen of pair skating, still is queen. But for a while here, Nina Moser really dominates Russian pairs with her team of coaches. And
I'm actually feeling like it's crazy that Nina Moser is only first coming up in any of the lore right now, because I think of her as this huge figure in Russian skating overall, but she really is specific to pairs.
And her time of dominance, we're like getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but her time of dominance in the discipline with her teams is pretty short. Like this
Yeah.
is 2011, and by 2018 she takes a break from coaching. We only see her again last year with the Uzbekistan team.
And did she look and dress like Elton John the whole time
Damn it,
when
Sarah.
she was dominating?
Took my
Whole time. She's always super kind to me and pretty funny. We okay, remind me to tell you a story.
So
when
was
we get
Elton
to-
John. A lot of
Yeah,
people
I
say the
wasn't
same thing about Elton
suggesting she
John.
wasn't.
Yeah,
Looks
no,
and dresses
always
like Elton John.
always has looked and dressed like Elton. Look, she's his style, okay?
A lot of people can't say that they have a signature style, and she can't.
I can't.
No, I
but
can't
she can.
either.
No, okay, so they train under Nina Moser / Elton John. And this is
It says that when they skate. Coach Elton John. Jonovich. Elton
Sir
Jonovich.
Elton.
And actually, Nina will eventually bring her son, and her son will be like kind of a part of the team too. It's unclear whether he's a coach or he's like a medical. I have no idea what he's doing, but her son is around as well.
A dark magic
could be that
wizard,
magician,
could be anything,
lighthearted magician,
musician. He's composing the pieces of music. Okay. Anyway, Tanya and Max win their first nationals as a team, beating the reigning world bronze medalists Kavaguti and Smirnov. And Ukraine agrees to release Tanya and let her skate for Russia, but they still have to sit out of international competition for a year, forcing them to miss Grand Prix and Europeans that first year that they're together. They're eligible just in time for a random event in February to achieve their minimums for Worlds. The pair decides to go to Japan early for Worlds and arrives 3 hours before the earthquake and tsunami hits that would postpone the World Championships for over a month.
I didn't know that they got there early.
They got there early.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Which brings us to the World's postponement to April, May 2011. I remember we finished competing on May 2nd. So it's a late World Championships.
God, that's so long.
But it could have been worse. Like originally, Octavio Cinquanta suggested, who's the ISU president, suggested the event could be canceled or postponed till October. Because, so they're saying a statement's going to be made on March 21st. And there are pros and cons to both. Having a later in the spring event would cause skaters to back out of shows and tours, which is a huge source of income for many skaters. But having the Worlds in the fall is absolutely ludicrous bonkers. Like, imagine you still have to practice. I don't know if it's as big of an issue for singles, but in pairs, and even more so in dance, the elements in the short program change kind of drastically from a pattern perspective, where the death spiral, it's the same pattern, that's fine, but like the lift can change completely.
Yeah.
It's not ideal. Like, you do Worlds probably with new programs, but in the fall, it was tricky. But planning a World Championships, they're saying, takes like 2 years. So they're saying doing it in a month is not possible, in theory. The 2000 Worlds in France was the shortest known planning time, and that was 7 months. 6 candidates apply to host Worlds: Vancouver, Lake Placid, or Colorado Springs, Moscow, Zagreb, Finland, and Austria.
Mm-hmm.
On March 24th, it's decided that Moscow's Megasport Arena has been chosen. The Grand Prix final in 2010 looked like this. Aliona and Robin were first, Peng and Tong second, Sui and Han third. In fourth, Lubov, Ilyusheshkina, and Nodari Madzaradze.
Whoa.
Fifth was Vera Bazarova and Yuri Larionov, and sixth was myself and my old partner, Dylan. Give you a throwback. Blasty from the pasty.
Yes.
Yeah.
In multiple cases.
And it's interesting that Lubov is at this event, as are Dylan
that's what
and
I was thinking.
Which we will talk about later. Aliona, Savchenko, and Robin Szolkowy have been winning Grand Prix by huge margins of like 10 points and 15 points. They're totally dominating the field. Remember, Tatiana and Max are not at Grand Prix.
Mm-hmm.
At Worlds, they are second to Peng and Tong after the short program, but they skate a clean pink panther, and those pink pants win the title.
Yeah. It's hard to beat those pink pants.
You can't beat the pink pants. You really can't. Tatiana and Max have gotten their world minimums. They placed third in the short to Ice Dance Lore's favorite piece of music and Adam's short-term long program, Carmina Burana.
No. Stop.
But their short is actually so good. I like the music, fine, whatever, and the choreography, whatever, but they are so good. I forgot how good they are because we'll get there, but they were so good. Irina Rodnina is seen in the crowd. She's clapping. Rumor is she thinks the throw is inelegant, but she claps anyway. Second in the free, and they're second overall ahead of the defending champions. They are one of the few pairs in more recent years to reach the world podium in their first season together and in their first major international appearance. Remember, they've only done this like one small little event and that's it. And then they go to Worlds at home. Yuko and Alexander were suffering this season. Alexander had a groin injury and actually received treatment in Germany. Once he returned, he sprained his ankle. So the team's off for 3 months. They withdraw from their first Grand Prix. They fall on the step sequence in the short at Worlds, leaving them in 5th. Going into the free, they move up to 4th, but it's kind of an uphill battle for them.
Mm-hmm.
This will see Megan Duhamel and Eric Radford at their first World Championships. We'll talk a lot more about them later. We won't go into kind of their story right now, but this World Championships in the short is where Megan comes down on a triple twist and her elbow breaks Eric's nose.
Oh,
do you remember that?
Right.
Yeah, and
No.
and I didn't watch it because they skated before me, and we had a bit of a rivalry thing, and so I didn't watch them. I've actually never seen it until now. But she comes down a little short, and it's pretty common. Like, I think most people who know pair skating a little bit know that this is something that happens sometimes. Ideally not this badly, but her elbow comes down and totally like shifts his nose over. There's blood everywhere. She essentially, I guess, asks him in the program, we should stop? And he's like, no, keep going. And they keep going.
I'm surprised they were allowed to keep going because of the blood.
I'm surprised too.
Yeah.
But they do the thing.
Wow.
So good for them. In this season, we have Chinese age controversy. Do you remember this happening?
I remember it happening in gymnastics at the Beijing Olympics, so...
But
no.
don't.
Figure skating-wise, I don't remember.
I'm about to tell you. On February 14th, 2011, the Zhangs and other teams I'll mention in a minute, ages become the subject of controversy. The ISU bio lists Dan Zhang as born on October 4th, 1985, but a Chinese Skating Association website suggests she was born on that day in 87. So this means that in the 2001-2002 season, she was 14 and too young to compete at 4 continents, Olympics, and Worlds.
Okay. How does that get resolved?
Well, hang on. Hao Zhang also came under scrutiny as his ISU bio states he was born July 6th, 1984, but the Chinese website suggests he's born on February 6th, 1982. Making him too old to compete in junior events during the 02-03 season, such as the 2003 Junior Worlds.
Wow.
So the dates soon after disappear from the Chinese website, and the ISU says there are no discrepancies.
I bet.
Okay.
And the person who was running the Chinese website was never seen again.
Yeah, seriously. Another team that this happened to, another skater, Zhao Yu, who we'll talk about later, she will also skate with Hao Zhang. Her age is listed on the document suggesting she's 2 years older than she actually is. That would make her able to go to Worlds sooner, assuming because Hao Zhang is so much older than she is. And Sui and Han were also written in this letter, depicting age discrepancy, with Sui being listed as 2 years older and Song being listed as 3 years older. So,
and this all gets swept under the rug.
No discrepancies.
Yeah, okay. The website disappears and the ISU moves on.
All good in the hood.
All good. If there's no website, there's no issue. Come on.
Speaking of Chinese skaters, before this season, Hao broke his finger, forcing the team to pull out of their Grand Prix. He also continues to have shoulder and back problems. So what did you say, Sarah? He's just like
he's a hurt guy.
He's a hurt guy. Continues to be a hurt guy.
Yep.
Notable names at this 2011 World Championships, as I mentioned, Aliona Robin, first, Tatiana Mack second, Peng and Chong third, Yuko and Sasha fourth, fifth are Vera Bazarova and Yuri Larionov, sixth, Caitlin Yankauskas and John Coughlin, seventh, Megan and Eric, eighth, Kirsten and Dylan, 9, Narumi Takahashi and Mervyn Tran. They're going to have a good year next year.
Yeah, I can feel that.
We moved to 2012 and the Zhangs, or the 2011-2012 season, and the Zhangs returned to competition, winning silvers at their Grand Prix and coming fourth at final. They do not compete at Worlds, and at the end of the season, Dan Zhang retires to focus on university studies. I did a Grand Prix with this team in China this season, And Danjang was talking to me about how she was so thrilled because her retirement got approved. And it made me feel really sad, but happy for her that she was able to retire and do something that she wanted to do.
And she wanted to retire.
She wanted to retire.
That's what she wanted to do, yeah.
Dan Zhang retires. Swan Han go to Worlds. China only has 2 spots because the year before they were 3rd and 13th. Aliona and Robin take the option of competing at 3 Grand Prix events this season as they've allowed it this year. At Skate America, they attempt to throw triple axel for the first time, and they have a very hard fall. They ultimately rebound in the free, and they win. They try a throw triple axel again in the short program at NHK, and they take another hard fall. They finish 3rd at this event. They do not try it at Grand Prix Final. They're like, we've had enough of that. This is risky business. We're not doing it anymore. Aliona ruptures a muscle fiber in her left upper thigh from a fall in training in January. They consider withdrawing from Euros, but they're worried about a 1-year ban because they performed 2 art on ice shows.
Oh, so they weren't sanctioned or something?
I don't know.
That must have been it.
I don't know. This, I guess, based on that, they're scared to, I guess, break the rules. Maybe it's within their federation. I don't, maybe it's like, no, you did these shows, you have to go to Europeans. I have no idea how that came about, but they go to Euros, but they withdraw before the short, so they don't end up competing. The injury is not great. They're not able to do it. Tatiana and Max also struggling with injury. Max is struggling with a partial groin tear, so though they're able to win their Grand Prix and finish 2nd at the final, they miss Russian nationals to fully recover. At the 2012 European Championships, they win both segments and they win their first European title with the absence of Aliona and Max, but still a great feat. There's lots of great teams in Europe. That's fantastic. We go to Worlds. This Worlds, especially the short, is a disaster. Everybody is doing crazy stuff. Aliona and Robin do the throw triple axel in the short. They kind of make it out alive. It's 2-footed. In a sea of these disastrous short programs, they've done themselves well. Tatiana and Max fall on the death spiral in the short. They're quoted talking about ice conditions. Yuko and Alexander fall on a lift dismount in the second, the last second of their program, kind of like Elena and Anton at Olympics. That was it, 98. And Yuko has kind of wild jumps with elbows all over the place, but she gets the job done.
Yeah, she's very trying to whoa.
She's like, I got it. I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah, balancing tightrope in the air.
Yeah, she can make it happen though. And most of the time she does. They get 59.59, which for reference would not make the free program by today's standards. But you can't really compare. Things are very different. This is 2012, but that's kind of the stage that we're at this World Championships. Narumi Takahashi and Mervyn Tran. Narumi's born in Japan, though moved to China for her father's job when she was 9. Her dad's job was taking them either to China or to USA, and Narumi was inspired by Shen and Zhao, so begged to go there. She started skating with a Chinese boy, but never really found much success and eventually moved back to Japan when she would have had to relinquish her Japanese citizenship to move further. Mervyn Tran is from Regina, Saskatchewan, and he moved to Montreal to skate with Narumi in 2007. He had not skated pairs before, was interested in it. His coach, actually, in Saskatchewan, convinced him to go to Montreal to give it a try. This is pretty crazy. At Skate Canada 2011, Mervyn does 4 turns in his first lift in the free program, and you can't do that. Nowadays, if you do 4 turns in a lift, they're just going to stop counting your feet. In fact, it's allowed. You can do 4 turns if the last half is doing a dismount. If not, you're doing too many turns, they're just going to stop counting your features. That's the worst thing that's going to happen to you. But back in the day, if you turned 4 turns, you get 0. The whole lift is nil.
Dang, that's harsh.
So, this tricky situation is at one of the Grand Prix, Mervyn does 4 turns in his first lift in the free program. The panel doesn't catch it. Bruno Marcotte is Mervyn and Narumi's coach. Bruno Marcotte is also Megan and Eric's coach. Both of these teams are on the bubble for making final. So
Okay.
Bruno is not going to say anything to the panel because his team got away with doing 4 turns in a lift, but his girlfriend at the time and soon-to-be wife may not make final because of this team. It's possible, and so it's in her best interest if the panel knows that they did 4 turns in this lift. Anyway, they both end up making final because I don't make final, so it's totally fine.
Not like anyone.
Because you went, this is just too much.
Finals in Canada, that was a real bummer for me. That's okay. But we were kind of the 3 teams on that bubble. We all came 3rd and 3rd. Actually, Megan and Eric and Dylan and I came 3rd and 3rd. Nurmi and Mervin came 2nd and 4th, I believe. So because of that, their second wins the tiebreak. But anyway, pretty crazy. I looked it up on the sheet. It still is there with points. No one ever caught it, but I watched it. It did, in fact, have 4 turns.
Wow.
I know. Their short program this year is to Imagine. It is one of my favorite pair short programs. It's been one of my favorite pair short programs since they skated it. I rewatched it while I was preparing for this. It still is magic. It's beautiful work by Julie Marcotte. Their entry into their side-by-side sow is so good. And Mervin and Narumi, as far as I know, made the standing on the legs spread eagle into the lift kind of a thing. I don't recall anyone really doing it before them. We've seen that move in general, but we've never seen it, as far as I know, into an overhead lift. And Danny and Ellie, Danny O'Shea and Ellie Kim now do it very beautifully.
Right.
But Mervin and Narumi were kind of the first ones that I recall seeing that made that special. And they really were the team that would be unstoppable if they put it all together. They just rarely put it all together. And at Nice Worlds, they kind of do. They do a great short program. They have a mistake from both of them on the side-by-side sow in the free program, but otherwise, it's a very good solo. Narumi has these unbelievable lift positions that are sort of unmatched by anyone else at the time. I don't know many pair girls who can match them since then either. Like, they just are special. She has these beautiful lines and stretch in the air. Mervin and Rumi were really a special team when they were consistent, and they are able to secure the bronze medal at this World Championships. Aliona and Robin skate their long program to Pina. I freaking love it. It's so good. They win. Tatiana and Max are able to pull up. They come second. They only come second by 0.12. So Aliona and Robin win by the skin of their teeth.
Scary.
Indeed. In 4th place, Pang and Tong. 5th are Megan and Eric. They're able to climb. 6th, Bizarrova, Larionov. 7th are Yuko and Sasha. 9th are Sui and Han. We'll talk about that later. And in 16th, Vanessa James and Morgan Cipre.
Wow. The names.
I know, they're coming.
Yes.
I know, the
They're
names.
everywhere.
At first it was the birthdays, going, whoa, they're always changing. Now the names.
They're coming through. In April 2012, Narumi dislocates her shoulder in practice, practicing a lift, which requires surgery, after 5 or 6 recurrences, kind of like our pal Yuko. They withdraw from their 2012-2013 Grand Prix events, and in December of that year, it's announced that they've split. It's thought that the split is driven by Mervin's hesitation to become a Japanese citizen because he would have to give up his Canadian citizenship. And I actually found a quote where he's saying, "Of course, the Olympics is great, and as everyone, I'm dreaming of doing it. But there's also life after skating. I need to know exactly what happens and what are the consequences before I switch." Which is fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
It is fair, because if you have Japanese citizenship, you're only allowed to have
no
Japanese
dual citizenship allowed.
No dual.
I'm sure it's a bummer for her, though.
That's a bummer for her, and she wants to go, and thus begins her new partnership with Ryuichi Kihara.
Whoa, the names.
A single skater who wants to try pairs.
Mm-hmm.
They're coached by Yuka Sato and Jason Dungeon.
I think he'll be good at it.
You know what?
I think he will
might be right.
Okay at it, yeah.
He's going to come back up later in the lore. Mervin will go on to skate with Natasha Pirich for Canada for 1 year. They narrowly miss making the Canadian Olympic team in 2014, and they eventually split. He then teams up with Marissa Castelli of the United States, and they do find some success internationally, but nothing to the same degree that either of them had with their previous partners. Marissa, a 2014 Olympian with her partner Simon Schnapier for the U.S., and Mervin, of course, a world's bronze medalist with Nurumi.
Marissa and Mervin were around Labor Day of 2017, did like this big photo shoot with me and Adam. That was like the dumbest thing we ever did. Adam, do you remember this? They did
Say more.
The white party photo shoot where
Oh my God. Yeah, now I remember.
we
Yes.
were in Los Angeles.
I could not figure out what you were talking about at first, and I was like, excuse me, but now I know.
We were in Los Angeles and we had this I had this idea to do like a Labor Day white
This
party.
was not a we
Which is
thing.
it
This
was
a
me. It
Sarah
was me.
thing.
I did it. And we all
As you should.
dressed in all white and posed against the then Paul Smith pink wall, dressed in these all white
I remember seeing
outfits.
this.
Yes. Adam's mom came. Ashley and
I
Adam and I were all
remember.
there. And Mervin and Marissa were there because they happened to be in town training for something. So we said, come to the photo shoot.
Yeah. Come to the photo shoot.
That's what the Instagram
I see
post
it.
can be when we release this episode.
Yeah, come to the shoot.
Perfect. Well, after they end their partnership, following the 27-2018 season, Mervin tries again with another girl from the States, Olivia Serafini, as he's trying to obtain citizenship, so he just kind of wants to continue with that process. It doesn't really go anywhere. They're training part-time in New York and part-time in Montreal. They're traveling kind of every week. They end their partnership after the 2021 season. They get a couple Grand Prix assignments, but nothing really comes of this, and Mervin retires. We go to 2012 and 2013, where Aliona and Robin win gold at their first Grand Prix, Skate Canada, despite Aliona being sick. It was debated whether or not to give them a costume violation, because men were not allowed to wear pants, or wear tights. They need to wear pants. Pants necessary. No tights.
No pants.
No pants allowed. They weren't allowed to wear tights at the time. A Canadian journalist described their original flamenco long program costume as something that looked like the cat threw up. Aliona's illness turns much more serious into a sinus infection, and they withdraw from their second assignment, so there's no final for them. They're healed enough to go to Europeans with a new costume, but the same flamenco bolero program. Robin wears real pants. At Worlds, they are third after the short behind Tatiana and Max, and Megan and Eric. Volosozhar and Trankov win both of their Grand Prix assignments, and they win the final, though, as we know, Aliona and Max were not there. Max's dad dies of a sudden heart attack a few days before Europeans, and they still decide to compete. They win by over 7 points over Aliona and Robin. They will go on to win their first Worlds this season by 20 points. They are dominating the pair skating world right now. So Megan Duhamel and Eric Radford. We haven't spoken a lot about them, just a little bit about their accident and troubles at Moscow Worlds in 2011.
But it sounds like they've risen through the ranks quite a bit at this point.
They've risen.
Yeah.
They are rising at a Canadian Worlds in London, Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
Megan was born in a relatively small town called Lively in northern Ontario. And with Megan's, I think first partner, Ryan Arnold, they were the first to land a side-by-side triplets in competition.
Oh.
And Megan then skated with Craig Bunton. They were third at Canadians in 2010, and they narrowly missed the 2010 Olympic team before she would team up with Eric Radford. And I remember her saying that she thought to maybe retire when Craig retired, or to maybe try and keep going. So I'm sure that she's grateful that she made the choice to keep going. Eric was born in an even smaller town in northern Ontario of like 5,000 people. The team started skating together in the spring of 2010, and in addition to skating, Eric studied music at York University and has a grade 9 Royal Conservatory of Music certificate. He composes music, which we will talk about a lot more as we keep going and as early as next season. Eric skated before Megan with Rachel Kirkland in 2005, and they were coached by Ingo Stoyer. He had another partner from Quebec for 1 year following that, but didn't find much success until he teamed up with Megan. After finishing 5th at Worlds the year prior, they continue to rise, and this really is the start of great things to come for them. They have such an amazing World Championships at home in London. They're able to finish 3rd, and the crowd is amazing and electric for all skaters, but especially for Canadian skaters, and this is really a breakthrough for them.
It's pre-Olympic Worlds.
It is pre-Olympic Worlds, and so the world results look like this. It's first Tatiana and Max, second is Aliona and Robin, third is Megan and Eric, though I did mention that Aliona and Robin were third after the short, with Megan and Eric second. They flipped for the free and total results. Myself and my partner Dylan were fourth, Peng and Tong fifth, Yuko Alexander sixth, Vanessa and Morgan pull up to 8th, and in 9th, we see Alexa Skemeka and Chris Kiniram. Will eventually become Alexa and Chris Kiniram.
Wow. A woman with a maiden name that I haven't heard in many years.
In 11th, we see Cheng Peng and Hao Zhang. We know Dan Zhang has retired. Hao Zhang has a new partner. And in 12th, we have Sui and Han. They had withdrawn from Grand Prix this season due to injury to Sui, so it was just kind of a difficult feat for them to be at Worlds in general. They're here. We go to the Olympic season. The 2013-2014 season brings in the new interruption rule, where you can stop, but you're going to lose 5 points. Because there started to be this epidemic, I think like mostly in ice dance, if I'm being brutally honest, where people would stop. And then they'd talk to people and then restart. I don't know if you've spoken about this in lore, because I haven't heard the third lore yet.
No, not enough to know that it inspired a rule change.
Well, I think, didn't Max Trankov and his old partner had one of their signature moves was him always like, losing circulation with his costume. And a few times they'd go over to the referee and he had to be like the Hulk, like cut out of his costume a few times.
Yeah. Yes. It did happen more than one time. We should have talked about that last lore.
And be like, is chiffon that restricting?
Yes.
It is. It's very dangerous until you can get a deduction. Then it's
then
safe.
It's not. Well, ironic you mentioned Max, because I'll tell you why in a second. But surrounding this, it had happened a couple times in dance. And so at the first Grand Prix of the season, which is Skate America, we're in Detroit, the skaters get a debriefing detailing what this entails and how to react to different like hypothetical situations, because it's confusing. You have like a lot of options, and they wanted us to feel comfortable with knowing what we could do and what the potential consequence of each of those things would be. Tatiana and Max are at this Grand Prix, as are me and Dylan. First Grand Prix of this season. Max looks at me and says, I swear to God, this is probably almost verbatim, "Kristen, I stop in free program, lose 5 points, maybe you have a chance to win."
Oh my God. Terrible.
And I should preface by saying, I really like Max, and I think Max likes me. Like, this was, like, said in, like, it's the truth. Like, it wasn't a lie. And it was, like, very different from someone being a rival, saying something mean to me. Like, it was something that very much made me laugh in the moment.
Yeah,
and,
he's, like being playful.
Me zero.
But it's also repeated now. Sounds so harsh and mean.
It's savage. It's so savage, but I took zero offense to it. This was like super funny. I liked Max. I enjoyed being at competitions with Max and Tatiana. There was like, it was totally fine, but that was hilarious. And
it's so funny.
We do
and
come
terrible.
Second to Tanya and Max at this event, and it is absolutely by more than 5 points. So if he stopped...
So he could have gotten
he would have needed
deduction.
A few stops. Yeah, he really could have. He could have stopped and done his loss of circulation thing and been fine. Everything would have been okay.
But he had circulation throughout.
He did. He was totally fine with circulation once he skated with a partner that he liked
for you.
A little bit more. Aliona and Robin bring the throw triple axel back this season. They do it at the short program at Rostelecom Cup, which is, I believe, the last Grand Prix. I was at this one too. She falls on it in the short very hard. before the free program, we're all warming up in the big gym / like basketball court upstairs. Do you remember this, Adam? It's like the warm-up area in Moscow. I don't know how many times you had the pleasure.
I've only been there once, and I actually never warmed up there. So I believe you, but I don't even know where you're talking about.
You like walk up a bunch of stairs, and then the warm-up area is like this designated like basketball court. And everyone's warming up there, but it's so huge that teams have like kind of designated corners. Like it's not your warm-up room you may see on, like, if you're watching the NBC feed, when it's a little bit more of a confined
right, when it's just like
and skaters
curtains confining some pads on the ground. Yeah.
Right. It's different than that, and there's lots of space, but we're all warming up there, and Alyona, Savchenko, and Ingo Stoyer, who's the coach, are together, and they're like kind of chatting. He's like, she's stretching, whatever. I'm not paying too much attention, if I'm honest. I'm trying to do stuff. And Robin is warming up on his own. Eventually, Alyona and Ingo leave the basketball court. And minutes later, like maybe 10 minutes later, Robin comes up to me and asks me, "Did you see where Alyona went?" And I was like, "Oh, she left like 10 minutes ago." And Robin says to me, he like thinks for a second, then he says to me, "Do you know if I'm competing?" So she had fallen so hard the day before that they were maybe going to withdraw. But now we're warming up, and Alyona leaves the room, and he's like, "Hey, do you know if I'm skating?" I don't know, man. This is a you thing. I'm just trying to make
Please
final.
Leave me out of it.
This feels so pair boy.
Oh my god, I know. Just totally.
Do you know? Goes to another pair girl to ask.
Right.
It's like, I'm sorry, I don't know. And
Dog looking for owner.
I really liked Robin. Robin's funny. Like, Robin, before practice, he would like sit in the kiss and cry and then run on the air. He's funny. He's like goofy, he does funny things. And so they do in fact compete, and they win the event with no throw axle.
Okay. Was the return of the throw axle seen as sort of a, I don't want to say panic move, but just like a move because they were starting to get beat by Tatiana and Max so often?
I think so, and they technically are not as strong as Tatiana and Max. They are not doing the level 4 twist, like they throw and Robin keeps his arms up to catch her, and they do side-by-side triple toe, like hop triple toe, which a lot of us did back then, which is worth pretty similar to triple toe, double toe. So, I mean, who knows why we all made that choice. But then their second jump, it was a double axel where Tanya and Max are doing a triple Szolkowy. So, I mean, they could be trying to get a leg up. I think Alyona really wants to win the Olympics, and I think she believes that she's capable of this throw. Yeah.
I've heard her, and I think she's quite competitive. I do think so.
Yes. And we're gonna see a throw triple axel where one probably shouldn't be in a few months. So, Grand Prix final results look like this. Alyona and Robin win. They beat Tatiana and Max. Peng and Tong are third. Cheng Pong and Hao Zhang are fourth. Megan and Eric are fifth. Myself and Dylan are sixth. At the Olympics, it's like pretty freaking wild. It's a whole fucking mess of like drug tests and stealing pee. You should watch Icarus if you're interested. As we know, this is the inaugural team event in the Olympics. The event starts with the top 10 ranking countries that all do the short program. Same as now. Mm-hmm. This happened the same way in 2018, same way in 2022. But at this first team event, the schedule was a little bit different. So all 10 countries do the short, but only the top 5 countries do the free program, which again, same. But in this schedule in Sochi, the ice dance and women's short program happened directly before the pair free program. Literally, I looked it up. The team women's short was at 8:10, and the team pair free was at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
So there's not a lot of time in there, and there's 10 women competing, right? Because this is still the short program. I remember I was doing the pair free for the team event, so I was warming up. Canada was probably in second place at the time. It was not on the bubble. We weren't on the bubble. We were going to skate the long. But I remember a couple countries being on the bubble of competing. I think it was Japan and France. And these countries are warming up for the free program at the Olympics, and they have no idea if they're going to do it. Because one of them's not going to do it. One of them will be sixth.
Right.
And so it ended up being Japan. that would compete the free. And so the French team didn't have to warm up anymore. They could go sit in the stands and watch. But
That's
it's so wild. I thought
that's awful. That's so awful.
So awful for them, because it's really hard to get yourself in that. That's what I found so tricky about COVID, is it was like, are we skating or are we not? Like, I need to get my head in a space one way or the other.
Well, and by the way, in Milan, the free dance is right after the men's short program for the team event. So it's going to be some teams in the same situation of like the rhythm dance, pairs short, women's shorts happens on the first day. And then the next day, the men's short happens. It ends like an hour before the free dance. So there will be some dance teams
so
that
be the
are
same thing.
Exactly in the same situation. They don't know if they're going to go or not.
Yeah, I think that's so. I understand schedules need to happen for reasons that go beyond the athletes, but it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So much adrenaline pumping through your veins,
right? Just to go sit in the stands.
Yeah. Oh my god, I'd be exhausted if I found out I was doing it. I'd be like exhausted before I even got on the ice.
Mentally,
from wondering if you were going to do it. Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Totally.
So the team that gets to do it is Narumi Takahashi and Ryuichi Kihara. This team, we know it was Narumi's dream to make the Olympics, which is why the partnership ended with Mervyn Tran. They actually did not qualify for the Olympics. They're only able to attend to participate in the team event for Team Japan. They are able to skate. They don't have the same magic as Narumi had with Mervyn. They don't have the same magic that Ryuichi will have with his partner moving forward. So they will skate one more season together after this one, but once again, they won't make the free program for Worlds, and they'll ultimately end their partnership. Narumi will go on to consult with Japanese pair teams as well as doing some commentary for Japanese television. She joins a women's hockey team and plays, which, if you know her, you're just like, yeah, that makes sense. She's like so teeny tiny, but is this like huge personality.
Which you need for hockey.
In June of 2021, you must. In June of 2021, Narumi was elected as an executive board member of the Japanese Olympic Committee, and she's the youngest person in history.
Wow. Oh my God, I had no idea. She should be on a board.
She should be on many boards.
Yes.
I think. So we've talked about Aliona and Robin a little bit this season. Let's talk about Volosozhar and Trankov. They start this season breaking their own world record score at Nebelhorn Trophy. They win both Grand Prix, but as I mentioned, they lose to Aliona and Robin at Grand Prix final, which is making us all feel like maybe it won't be just like a domination station from them at the Olympics. They win Europeans, however, Aliona has withdrawn due to the flu. They go to their home Olympics, they do the short program in the team event, and they do absolutely dominate the individual event. They keep breaking their own records. They win this event by almost 20 points. Jesus Christ Superstar has risen, and he is in mustard yellow pants.
Never forget. No, they were amazing, though.
They were amazing.
Yeah.
It was interesting to skate in that Olympics, because if you skated in the same group with a Russian team, which I did both days, there's no music in the warm-up. There's just people chanting, Russia, Russia, the whole time, loudly. And they're doing that for Tatiana and Max as they take their starting position. So it's like there's no like skating etiquette here. They're just like very excited.
Well, the pressure
for this,
if you're one of those teams, is incredible.
Crazy.
Yes.
It's incredible. It truly is. And they hold it together. They do amazing. The Protopopovs are in the stands for the free. It's cool to see a pan to them. Tanya's hair's falling out mid-program, so they like get to a stop and they're like doing, I don't know, choreography that I'm doing for Adam and Sarah on Zoom. And she like reaches back to like see the damage of her hair, see if it's going to completely fall out, and just keeps going. They're amazing. They are the deserved Olympic champions.
To call back from part 2 of the lore, in Vancouver in 2010 was like the first time in a very, very long time that no Russian pair was on the Olympic podium at all. So That's Russia was then hosting the Olympics and had come off of this Olympics that was incredibly disappointing for a discipline that they had traditionally dominated. So adding
Absolutely.
even more to the pressure on these teams.
Yeah, and it's amazing because then the Protopopovs, you pan right to them and they cheers a big old glass of tea and they drink it down.
Exactly.
Still
And
champions.
Yes. Getting my vitamins. No days off, bitch.
Allione and Robin are second in the short at the Olympics with a solid performance to Pink Panther, which they've converted from their free program last year to short this year. But a long program where Robin falls on the triple toe, which is the first in the series of 2. So they lose a lot of points there. Allione throws in a Hail Mary throw triple axel as the last element of the program.
What?
That's right.
Because
That's
they
right.
always did. They were the original throw as the last element of the program. We'll eventually see Ksenia Stoblova and Fedor Klimov do that. But Allione and Robin kind of like started doing this. And it's probably supposed to be a throw triple Szolkowy, if I remember correctly.
She just makes it an axle.
At some point in this program tells him it's a very different setup. So she's telling him, do the axel. And they do a throw triple axel. It's not close. She falls on her bum. But I think at this point she's like, what do I have to lose?
That sucks though. That's like that's 2 straight Olympics.
And kind of had that's 2 Olympics where Robin falls when he's quite consistent.
Yeah, it's very
Very.
Maurizio Margalio
So
in the dance floor.
Truly it is. Let's talk about Ksenia Stoblova
Please.
and Fedor Klimov.
I have a
because
story about her later.
Oh God, I can't wait. I have one too later. I wonder if they're the same. Ksenia and Fedor teamed up, and they were teamed up by their coach Ludmila Velikova. They trained with her in St. Petersburg, and they find great success on the junior ranks before going senior in 2011-2012. In the spring of 2013, right before the Olympic season, they moved to work with coach Nina Moser. They have a very sketchy twist before moving. I remember they'd fall on singles in practice, they'd do weird stuff. They're able to secure the silver medal at Europeans this season, and they're making huge and pretty steep rises in the rankings. Their scores are improving by tens of points a few months before the Olympics. I competed against them at Skate America not 6 months ago. It's probably, 4 months ago? And beat them by, I'm gonna say, over 15 points, with them not skating poorly.
Do you feel like their improvements warranted the huge jumps in points, though? Or no?
I feel like, to a degree, yes. I do feel like there's a little bit of home cooking at Russian Olympics that contributes to that. But they have improved greatly.
Right, it's not like they're bad. I just was curious they're obviously very
they're not bad
good.
by any means. Sometimes we see in skating, too, as you both know, they were fairly unknown at Skate America. They're probably relatively similar to what they are at Olympics, but they did that same pretty good skate at Skate America, and then their second Grand Prix, and they keep going, and then all of a sudden at Olympics, they find themselves with X amount of points.
Yeah, the Olympics love a medalist that has had the first consistently good season of their lives.
They do. And a home medalist as well. They just really capitalized on opportunity, and they skated amazing.
I mean, it's a little bit like Alyssa Liu, where she could be skating well all season, but then she does those same programs at a major international at home, and it becomes this undeniable moment.
Yes, and I was a proponent of, give her those points. Give her all of those points. So I totally get that. And also, GOE can make up for a lot. When you count the GOE on your sheet, it's going to make up for a lot of points. And so I imagine just working on the quality with Nina and her team throughout this season, a lot of those points would have come from there as well. I told you that they are improving by tens of points a few months before the Olympics. They do the free program in the team event. They win it for Team Russia. They end up finishing second at their first Olympic Games, when 6 months ago they really aren't even in the mix, and they were not at final. They didn't qualify for the Grand Prix final not that long ago.
I've completely forgotten how not in the mix they were.
Not even a little bit.
Yeah, I forgot.
They skate to Adam's family They're like
I
fun.
love this
People
program.
It's so
freaking
good.
love it.
I'm one of
love
those
it.
people
Yeah.
because she looks like the meanest person on the planet.
I'm gonna tell you, she acted like it sometimes.
She did. I did like, and I would every time I saw her at an event, I'd always make her take a picture with me, and I was like, you have to look more upset than usual, which she did like, and so
Yeah, she would
every
love that.
picture, it looks like we're being detained by the police. So every picture I have with her
Yeah, that makes sense.
checks out.
It checks out. I get it. I don't have any photos with her, but I could see it.
Well, you never asked her to look more upset than usual, or you would.
No,
Yeah.
I didn't. Their second place means, as I mentioned, that Nina Moser wins first and second in the Olympics. Yuko and Alexander are competing this season, but prior to their Grand Prix, Smirnov ruptures his patella tendon. They have to withdraw from the assignments, so we don't really see them. Megan and Eric are amazing in the short program in both the team event and the individual event, but their long is rough and they drop in places. Their short is to a beautiful composition by Eric himself, and it's called Tribute. It was dedicated to his late coach, Paul Wirtz, who was the brother of Chris Wirtz, who we talked about very briefly in Lore episode 1. The long was to Alice in Wonderland. It never really worked for them. They would tell you that. But anyway, they drop at the Olympics and have kind of a disappointing finish for themselves. At Worlds, though, Aliona and Robin decide to go to Worlds, and they close their season out and his career out with their 5th world title, surpassed only by Queen Irina Rodnina.
Mhm.
Robin then decides to retire from competition. It's following this World Championships that, as I mentioned, Robin retires and Aliona and Bruno Massot will team up together. They're quite buddy-buddy at Worlds. He's there with his former partner. He finished in 15th place at Worlds. I'll walk you through it. I didn't before. At Worlds 2014, it's Aliona and Robin first, Stoblova Klimov second, Megan and Eric third again, Kirsten and Dylan fourth again. 5th are Chengpeng and Hao Zhang. 6th are Sui and Han. 10th, Vanessa James and Morgan Cipre. And as I just mentioned, Daria Popova and Bruno Massot are 15th. There's a rumor that this partnership between Aliona and Bruno has been discussed prior, but this is all alleged. We don't know that for sure. On March 29th, 2014, it's announced they're a team. This is like 5 minutes after
it's
Worlds
pretty
ends.
quick. Hard to do that without any discussion, is all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
It just happened. It just happened, you guys. Come on.
Yeah, it totally just happened. Also, following this season, Tanya and Max announced that they are a couple and they're getting married, which is suspected through their 4-year partnership, but they always deny it.
Oh, I didn't know that they always denied it.
I mean, I never asked outright because I am not indecent.
No, as we know.
But I had been around when other people had asked, and it was like maybe not a denial, but maybe I don't know.
They'd never lean into it.
They did not lean into it. They wanted to just be skating partners.
Interesting. Because I started working in skating after the Sochi Olympics. And so I always knew them to be a couple because they were publicly a couple by the time I was working on skating. And so I guess I always assumed that they just were a couple when they skated.
This is also the World Championships where a certain renowned pair skater moos at me in the skater's lounge when I pick up a dinner roll, which is not very nice. Did you ever see the TikTok? That was rude.
Yes.
Yeah, not very nice. Following the World Championships...
It was Ashley, by the way, everybody.
I said pair skater.
Well...
She's going to be so
to cover for
mad.
her.
She's going to be so mad when she hears you say
And
that.
it wasn't a Canadian. No one start anything. It wasn't a Canadian, okay? Following the World Championships and after finishing at fourth at Worlds for a second year, myself and Dylan Moskovich will stop skating together. It will be a surprise choice to, I think, a lot of people.
This was crazy.
And to us also, the day of our long at Worlds, someone had put out a rumor, a commentator had put out a rumor that we were splitting, and you can see me at the end of our long at Worlds say to Dylan, "Don't leave me," because we were laughing about how someone had said that. A few months later, or not a few months, end of April, we will
So
split.
about a month
so
later?
about a month later, we will split, and I will start skating with Michael Marinero, who was formerly skating with Margaret Purdy in Canada, and Dylan will start skating with Lubov Ilyasheshkina, who had some success earlier in the quad with her partner Nodari Mazeradze. And people were very upset about this. I got messages that I deserved to die. People were pissed about this decision. And Dylan and I do always, like, if ever I talk about this, which I don't often, but Dylan is amazing. And, like, this decision had nothing to do with Dylan as a person. We still have a relationship. It was, rocky there for a minute, of course, because he was very surprised at the end of the partnership, but now we're great friends, and even worse so, I think, while we were still competing, we were totally fine, but Dylan was great. Some people around Dylan were not great to me, and so choices were made, and I think I never want to make it seem like I didn't have a choice, because I was a 21-year-old woman and nobody ever held a gun to my head and said, you have to make this decision. But some people I trust had led me to believe that should I stay with Dylan because of some rule changes, we would not find success. We wouldn't work as a team. And so I believed these trusted people that I had trusted for many years to guide my career, and so this decision was made. And it was very challenging. Mike and I started and were very bad. Very, very bad. And so it was hard to go from having a lot of success to really
starting
struggling.
over.
Yeah, really struggling to start over, and it was a challenge. But
did you have doubts? You're just coming off of being fourth at Worlds, and the Olympics are ending, or the Olympic season is ending. So there's usually a reset of like, okay, everybody's going to kind of shift up and some teams are going to be done and whatever. Like, did that make you doubt your decision?
No, because I was told Dylan couldn't straighten his arms because of like the way they developed when he was young. And I was told by people I trusted very much that the rule was going to change, that you had to have completely locked out arms or you wouldn't be able to get points for your lifts. You'd get 0. So I think I was just naively believed into thinking all of a sudden where I was getting 20 points on elements, I was going to get 0 points. And, there were other factors, as I mentioned, some people around Dylan, not Dylan, were just not great to me, and that was a struggle for our whole partnership. And so I think the accumulation of these things and the panic of like feeling like something needed to be done made me make that choice. And again, nobody forced me to make that choice, but it's the choice that was made. Dylan and I have talked about it many a time about how both of us were led to believe things that were maybe not true by people we really trusted. And as I mentioned, are great now. It was hard. And I did talk to a lot of people. I spoke to people at Skate Canada. I spoke to our choreographer. I spoke to a lot of people before making the decision. It wasn't a rash decision, but I don't regret doing it. I had a beautiful partnership with Mike. I regret how it was done, though. And I respect Dylan very much. And he deserves better than that, for sure. And I know that now. But at the time, it was challenging. I felt really stuck.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I remember hearing about you guys splitting up, and it was, it really was shocking. Like, it was so shocking because you had been so successful to that point.
And my partner Mike and I would skate with Dylan and my coaches for a year, and then we relocated to Richard Gauthier and Bruno Marcotte in Montreal, and they too were like, why'd you do it? But and it really changed. I don't think that anything would have stopped Megan and Eric's rise that would happen in the next season. I'm not for 1 second saying that me and Dylan splitting is the reason why they were so great the following season, but Megan and Eric and myself and Dylan were really rivals within our country. We won nationals and then they won nationals. We beat them at Olympics. They beat us at Worlds. And I think that because both of us were competitive in the world, coming third and fourth 2 years in a row, we really pushed each other to be better. It felt challenging at the time because we knew that, our score would win nationals in a lot of other countries, but in our nationals, we had these great rivals who were amazing pair skaters. I think their reality changed a lot because they had to find, and I'm speculating, I don't know this for sure, but I imagine if you had a lot of competition in your country and then all of a sudden you really had none, you'd have to find some other motivation. And knowing them how I do from training with them for many years, their motivation, I believe, would have been that they want to be at the top of the world and not the top of Canadian nationals. But they could have rested on their laurels and stagnated, but instead they totally rocket shipped to the top. They showed up at the Canadian high performance camp in August with a throw quad.
Right.
It was amazing and it was consistent. And they had a really fun program to Queen, and they will go to, foreshadowing a little bit, but they'll go to have an undefeated season. They're going to win both Grand Prix, final, Four Continents, and Worlds. And in case anyone didn't get it from before, please know that I'm not saying that has anything to do with my decision. I'm respecting how they handled that change in their competition within Canada and took that and really rose. It was amazing to watch that.
And she's vegan.
She is vegan. Yeah.
And she did all of that without meat.
Yeah, you can get a lot of protein from the plant-based
from your
diet.
biggest rivals retiring. You can get a lot of protein from your biggest domestic rivals splitting up.
Yeah,
there's so much protein in that.
There's a lot of protein in that, and also plant products.
And in nuts too.
Also
legumes.
tofu.
Those.
Hey, don't knock tofu.
I'm not.
I like tofu.
I'm
and
saying it has a lot of
tempeh.
protein.
Kirsten, before we move on, do you mind going back and talking about that rule that you were talking about that made you feel like your lifts with Dylan wouldn't count anymore? So what did that rule look like? What was that rule?
The rule specified that when your arm gets to its complete straight potential, that sounds bad.
Oh.
When your arm gets to its maximum degree of straightness, that sounds so terrible too.
To be fair, I am also still trying to get to my most extreme degree of straightness too. So please go on.
Okay, third time's a charm. When the lifting partner's arm is at its straightest position, it cannot bend from that point. So if the person lifting doesn't have arms that fully straighten, that's totally fine, so long as they don't bend from that point. Does that make sense? Is that more confusing?
No, that makes total sense. Thank you.
What I was told was that next year that rule would change, which was not accurate. But I digress. There you have it.
Okay, now I understand. I need to get to my maximum degree of straightness. And now that I know that, I'm ready to continue with the pairs lore.
Okay, we're in the 2014 and 2015. You have any other questions? I'm sorry.
No, I don't.
Okay. It's hard to talk about yourself. It really is.
You did a beautiful
Adam
job.
talked
Thank
less.
you.
I feel like Adam talked less about himself in the men's lore than you have about yourself. So he probably feels the same way. That it's just hard to tell a story about yourself when you're kind of talking in the third person.
Totally. And I wouldn't do it except for I felt like at the end of that season, and maybe that's just me feeling like, I don't know, my life is important, but it felt like in the end of that season that was a big lore
No, I
story
think it
within
No, it
the
was.
pair world.
And we demanded, I specifically demanded that you tell it because I remember it being such a big deal.
Yeah. And you know what? I feel super lucky, going back a little bit. I've had 3 partners. One was for a very, very short time, but, long-term with Dylan and long-term with Mike. And I feel like it was the greatest honor of my life to skate with such wonderful, wonderful partners when we know what some partnerships are like. I feel like I was really lucky. With Dylan, he was great. And then skating with Mike couldn't have asked for a better guy, truly. So Moving on. I'm not going to talk about myself anymore. 2014-2015 season, lyrics are allowed in the program music. This is a fun change for all of us. Tatiana and Max decide to compete this season, but Max's shoulder injury requires them to withdraw from Grand Prix events. They eventually withdraw all season because Max will end up requiring surgery and a lot of rehabilitation. Ksenia Stoblova cuts her hair, and she's an even fiercer bitch.
It's crazy that this happens after Sochi because this is the only way I picture her is with the short hair, because I feel like it's so emblematic of the way that she is as a person. It feels perfect for her and her personality, like the intensity of it.
It really is. It suits her so well.
Because very famously, a woman's kindness correlates to the length of her hair.
I was saying intensity, not meanness. Like,
I get it. The first thing I said was she cuts her hair and becomes fiercer, so I get it.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm saying, and I'm reading an article right now from Pew Research going, a woman's kindness is completely correlated. And
well,
I'm like,
and
Pew?
That's
great. It's a reputable
for
place.
Pew, and my only survey answerer was you, Adam. So that kind of makes sense.
And it was me answering going, tee-hee.
Precisely. Well, this is the year that Ksenia brings her dog everywhere. This and like all the years after. Do you remember this?
Oh, there we go.
Do you remember?
Of course I do, because this was a woman on a mission.
Yeah, with short hair and a dog. One time, she brings it to Grand Prix France. It's out. It's not on a leash in the change room. It's just running around wherever it wants to go. It's this like tiny little thing that you carry around in a purse. And I ask her. I was raised correctly. I always ask someone before I pet their dog. And I ask her, hey, can I pet you? Or she does not let me finish the sentence. She says, no.
Sorry, you can't bring it into the locker room if people aren't allowed to pet it.
That is precisely what I
Otherwise, you leave
thinking.
it at home.
Right.
Yeah, correct. Well, I got the last laugh. Actually, she did, because she won her Grand Prix and stood on the medal. I came probably 7th, skated very badly, but the doctor was holding the dog, and I pet that dog.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Who needs a medal when you
She'll
can
never
pet a
know.
dog?
I would have liked the medal, but...
So
we
my
pet the
story
dog, so.
about Ksenia, which I'll tell now, is that the very first event I ever worked when I was a researcher was Skate America 2015, and we were in Milwaukee, and she and Fedor skated there. And I got there, and Michelle, who you all have met via the dance lore, was there. And also our dear friend Barb, who's a longtime Canadian figure skating researcher for CBC, who also has worked for NBC. The two of them were there, as well as our friend Justine, who played the part of Ashley in Dance Floor 1. I just want you to know the characters involved here. You have met most of them.
Got it.
They were all at Skate America, and they were training me on how to do this job as a figure skating researcher. And so I was more in a shadowing role during the live TV show, where they were sort of actually the ones feeding notes to the announcers, and I was sitting and observing, right? And in the 2015-16 season, Ksenia was nursing some kind of injury. It was a foot or an ankle, where she enters the season and is a little bit injured. And I don't remember the exact context of this, but they don't skate super well in the Paris free skate. And at least, but not by their standards, right? And so Barb, who is the sweetest, nicest person, I want to say that, the nicest person I know, just like the best, really, truly. This older Canadian woman, we all know her. She's amazing. She says, Sarah, because I'm not super busy in the announce booth. She says, Sarah, go ask her about her injury right after they get off the ice. And I don't know any better than to do that or not. So I'm like, okay. I'm like trying to show that I'm not scared and, whatever. I can.
And you should have been
I should
scared.
have been. Actually,
She just cut her
by
hair.
the way, I was.
They didn't
Well, I
warn
didn't
you
know.
that this woman used
I
to have
didn't know it was
long
long
hair.
before. I didn't know it was long, you know? I thought she always had this hair.
Oh no.
And so I go backstage. They had like just left the kiss and cry, and I'm sort of like waiting in the tunnel for her. And for the record, I was a little bit scared, but I wasn't as scared as I should have been. Because
Okay.
I tried to speak to her, and she gave me a look that could kill thousands. I mean, I feel strong for surviving the look that I received as she
I believe
walked
it.
straight past me and ignored everything that I said.
Yeah, that makes sense. You should know better than to ask her anything in a mix zone where people are supposed to ask
I
questions.
wasn't even in a mix zone, Kirsten, because I truly didn't know what I
Oh,
was
no.
doing. I was like in the tunnel,
Oh,
just
no.
like trying to like pull her aside.
Yeah, it's tough.
It was tough, and that was my trial by fire.
So was Barb trying to mess with you?
It's a baptism by fire.
It's
She does
initiation.
really laugh
Hazing.
at the fact that this happened, and I think it just was sort of a thing where she like didn't really think about how I wouldn't know the correct tact to do this and wouldn't like be in the right spot and wouldn't anything, and just kind of said out loud, "Oh, find out if her ankle's still bothering her," or whatever it was. And I'm like, okay.
Whoops.
So
Well, you messed
yeah,
that
in
up.
conclusion, I'm not really sure how her ankle was feeling at the time. She stared at me like I should be dead, and then
Well,
didn't tell me. And I tried to pretend I was dead after that.
you know who else wished that they were dead? Was
I'm dying to know
Yeah,
who
this
you're
is an
going to
amazing
say.
segue.
I am
Tell us.
literally on the edge of my seat.
was Fedor Klimov, her partner, when they go to Europeans and they're skating in the free program. They're going into their trademark final element. It's a throw triple sow. He clips the boards with his foot, falls down, cannot throw her. Go
Oh
watch
my
it.
God. I know. I
Can't
remember
throw
it.
her. She just does a landing stretch and hits an ending position and then gives a look a la Barbara Fusarpoli. So after this, Europeans, so they have to forfeit the element. They lose the element. They're going to lose about like 5 points for this. In a curious choice, after this, they decide not to compete at Worlds. And they're quoted as saying it's because they want to learn new throws, which they don't do. So I don't know. Maybe they tried. I assume they were going to try to learn throw quads. Let's talk about Sui and Han, my fave. They
Let's.
team up in 2007, being inspired by Shen and Zhao. They have a ton of success in junior, winning Junior Worlds 3 times. And in the 2011 season, they qualify for both the junior and senior Grand Prix finals. They will compete in junior. Guess who their coach is? You're not going to.
It's Yao Bin.
Humbo Zhao.
Yes, eventually. Their first coach, though, that puts them together is Luan Bo.
Whoa.
Remember
No
her?
way.
Luan Bo, you may remember as Yao Bin's pair partner who learned lifts with a helmet jumping off of a table. That's their first coach. And we see her
Wow.
for years. She's with them for years through much of their junior success.
Cool.
Did they coach together ever, or were these like two different pair schools?
Two completely different pair schools. And teams often go from Luan Bo to first Yao Bin and then to Hung Bo Zhao.
Wow.
This
Oh my
happens on
gosh.
more occasions than just Sui and Han.
This is so amazing because I can't think of another pair team where the male has gone on to coach a world and Olympic champion and the female of the same team goes on to coach another world and Olympic champion.
To reach that much success. I'm sure teams do it a lot. Like we see Aliona and Robin are both coaching, but neither of them have had a team reach that level of success yet.
Right.
Obviously. But super cool. If you're a longtime pair fan, you're going to remember Sui and Han for their country western program when Song does a like lassoing motion in their death spiral. Do you remember this, Adam? It was so fun.
Vividly.
It was
yes.
so fun. They were doing throw quad back in the day. Sui and Han switched to Yao Bin and Hung Bo Zhao following the 2013 World Championships. This year is the year that they find their highest senior success with a silver medal at Worlds. they indicate that they will include the throw quad that they used to compete as juniors again next season. Yuko Kawaguchi and Alexander Smirnov are also including a throw quad Saukow in their free skate, and they win Europeans, but finish a disappointing 5th place at Worlds. So the Worlds results look like so. Megan and Eric win their first world title, 2015 in Shanghai, China. Sui and Han at their home Worlds are 2nd. Peng and Tong are 3rd. Chengpeng and Hao Zhang are 4th. That's 2-3-4 for China at a home Worlds. Yuko and Sasha are 5th. Evgenia Tarasova and Vladimir Morozov are 6th. We'll talk about them in a while. Alexa Stilskemeka and Chris Kaniram. And Lyubov Ilyosheshkina and Dylan Moskovich are 13th. So in this, Canada has 3 spots, and in this fight for 3 spots, all of a sudden, Kirsten and Dylan are now against each other. Dylan and Lyubov will win. I believe they were actually 2nd at Nationals, and Julian Sigan and Charlie Bilodeau were 3rd. And so those 3 teams go to Worlds. It was thought, actually, that Peng and Tong would retire after Sochi. And I remember in Sochi, in the gala, Dylan and I did the gala, as did Peng and Tong, and we thought that it was the last time we were seeing them skate. And they were special to watch. So we would watch them in the gala and kind of relish in being in the international pair world at the same time as them. And then they decide to come back for one more season, and they get one final world medal. They will marry in 2016, and their son is born in 2017. Following this season, Megan Duhamel and her coach Bruno Marcotte also get married in June. In the 2015-2016 season, Sui and Han, as well as Megan and Eric, withdraw from one event that would have them facing off before Worlds. So we don't get to see these two compete against each other until the pinnacle event in Boston. So the last time we've seen them is at Worlds in 2015. I believe Megan withdraws from 4 continents, and Sui and Han withdrew from final. So we don't get to see these top 2 teams competing against each other. Yuko and Sasha so that's Kawaguchi and Smirnov, have a record-breaking Grand Prix season where they include 2 throw quads in their program at Cup of China. They're doing the Saukow and the loop, and they're the first pair to ever land a throw quad loop, which is amazing. Incredible, incredible feat.
I also remember that they would go at these throws at a snail's pace.
Standstill.
Complete standstill. Like, he could have been in his sneakers.
True.
They're going that slow.
Yes, they were. It was an interesting technique.
Yeah.
But they were always straight, which was nice from a safety perspective. And
yeah, they were nice from a safety perspective, but they weren't beautiful.
No, but like Yuko and Sasha were endearing, but I would say elements besides the lifts were maybe not beautiful. Like the elbowy jumps. They got shit done. They were scrappy.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's very true. Yes. And he was always wearing a neckline that ended at the belly button.
Correct.
I don't think I've ever not seen his chest in any sort of outfit.
You must. It's the only way.
Well, if my chest looked like that, believe me, I'd look like I was going to Love Island.
If only.
If only. Yuko, unfortunately, sustains a ruptured tendon in practice in January 2016. They have to withdraw from Europeans and Worlds, making space for newcomers Tarasova and Morozov, who we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Megan and Eric actually were practicing a throw quad lutz in the off-season. That's when we were training with them, so we saw a lot of this. And there actually is a video somewhere of them landing the throw quad lutz and the throw quad sow in their Hometown Glory free program. In the
probably my favorite program of theirs ever.
Mine too. Ultimately, it wasn't consistent enough to compete with. I wrote in my notes, their free program at Worlds is magic. The energy in the building in Boston is insane. They have a different style than a lot of pair teams because they never really portray love or romance. It's not their style. But they're continuing to find vehicles that work really well with them. And as Sarah just said, Hometown Glory was perhaps my favorite also that they created with choreographer Julie Marcotte. A little bit of foreshadowing, but they will bring it back in a few years.
And I feel like they were the hometown team in Boston. The U.S. did not have a clear medal contender in the pairs event at this home worlds for the U.S. teams. And so, as is customary, the U.S. audience adopted some Canadians. And Megan and Eric were the ones.
And the audience was great. Yeah, it was special to be in the building.
That's where we go, representing North America.
That's when we bring in the continental representation.
That's where we don't see any borders. They don't matter to us at all.
I don't see tariffs.
I don't see difference.
Wah, wah. Tatiana and Max are also back this season. They win their first challenger of the season, which is Nebelhorn. They're scheduled to compete at 2 Grand Prix, the first being Trophy Eric Bompard. Following the short, Paris falls under attack with 3 suicide bombers targeting the Stade de France in Saint-Denis during a soccer game. After this, another group of attackers fire on crowded cafes and restaurants. A third group carries out a mass shooting and takes hostages at a concert. 137 people are killed and 416 are injured, so obviously a state of emergency is declared across the country, and obviously this figure skating event is cancelled. Teams' standings after the short program is the amount of points that they'll get towards their name for the final. Tanya and Max withdraw from their second Grand Prix event when Tanya suffers a minor injury in practice. So this obviously affects how athletes are selected to Grand Prix final. So ultimately, we see 7 teams at the final this year. Coming first at the final are Senya and Fedor. Megan and Eric are second. Yuko and Sasha third. Julianne Seguin and Charlie Bilodeau, who I mentioned earlier, a young Canadian team, are fourth. Zhao Yu and Yang Jin, fifth. Chingpeng and Hao Zhang are 6th, and Alexa Skameka and Chris Kaniram are 7th.
Yeah, because they let an extra team in because of the French event being cut short.
Yeah, because of the, if you did a bad short, then you weren't able to do a free. It's tricky. Tanya and Max at Worlds, going forward again, are 3rd in the short with a level 3 twist, and Max is pissed. This team, we didn't talk about this team has the best twist of the event until Aliona and Bruno come
I was
onto the
just
scene.
thinking
Tatiana and Max's twist are huge. It's massive. It's gorgeous. It's like textbook beautiful. So they get a level 3 in the short, and Max is just straight up pissed. And he's a little spicy when he wants to be. He posts a photo on Instagram with his arms down and Tatiana in the air with lots of height. So when your hands pass your shoulders after you throw your pair woman, you get a level. Obviously, that's only 1 level of the 4 that you need for level 4. But Max posts it and says something to the effect of level 3 my ass. I'm paraphrasing, but something to the effect of that. It does mention level 3. The following day in the free program, he kind of stumbles on it and they miss the catch. And they get level 3 again. And I remember being like, wow, karma exists. That was crazy. And again, I really liked Max. I really liked Max and Tatiana. This was not like a...
but it's still crazy to say.
Yeah, it's still crazy to post about your level 3 and then mess that element up immediately.
Correct.
At least he wasn't losing circulation in his arms again, so that's...
But the long program does get worse, though.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, it really does. They miss a jump, they miss a throw, and they also get a 0 on a lift, but not in the way where they botch a lift. He picks up a lift and does a carry position on one hand or one foot. I can't remember. But then it comes down, so he doesn't turn. You have to turn a lift to get points. So he's done a lot of work to get 0 on this lift. But it doesn't really, it doesn't look off. It's odd. We're not sure why this happens.
But eventually his arms go down by his side. Yeah, he lost circulation. And his arms go down by his side, just like he said they were in the twist in that Instagram post.
That's right. They also get a level 2 on their pair spin. They're just giving away all kinds of shit. I honestly think that pairs are just getting so much stronger in the world, and they maybe didn't anticipate this with their comeback. Took a year off. They thought they'd come back and kind of jump right back into where they left off. And pairs are just getting better as they do. So they end up at this World Championships in 6th place.
Wow, I don't even remember that they came back.
They did like a Bollywood short.
Yeah, I remember now.
Remember that?
Yes,
they were green. I do. Yeah. Sui and Han are 2nd at Worlds after winning the short program. It is an amazing short program and absolutely worth a rewatch. This team's been working with Lori Nickel for years, and they are making magic. Together, they will continue to make magic. Their throw quad Sacco is back, but they fall on it. In the free program, they will lose the free and the title overall to Megan and Eric. Aliona and Bruner's partnership had a little bit of a tough start when at first they couldn't decide who to compete for, and then eventually when they decided Germany, Didier Gallagher did not want to release Massot, Quelle surprise, and the FFSG demanded a release fee of 70,000 euros from Massot, which was later lowered to 30,000 euros. So that's what he had to give them.
Didier is such a fucking troublemaker.
Yeah, not the best. Not the
Although
best.
I will say that Bruno was worth the 30,000 euros.
Yeah, definitely he was. He is
Wow.
finally released on October 26th, 2015.
I guess it's nice to be worth the same amount as a minivan.
A minivan, brand new.
So
Not
again,
an old one.
you're worth the
Oh
same price
my
as
God.
a minivan.
Yeah.
All right.
That's nice. I respect it. They have the biggest and most impressive twist in the pair event. So I just mentioned it used to be Tatiana and Max. Aliona and Bruno's has just like gone to this level that we didn't know was possible. It's bonkers, cuckoo crazy.
It's the best I've ever seen.
It's just so amazing. Still.
No, Kirsten, I remember that I asked you maybe in the last lore, like, is there a reason that like we haven't seen more of that Chinese technique implemented with some of the other international pair teams? And arguably, like, you can see a lot of the like huge, big throws with Aliona and Bruno. What do you think about me saying something like that?
I thought you were about to ask me why we're not replicating what they're doing, and I couldn't wait to answer your question. Is that your question?
That's my question.
So we had, during COVID, Bruno Marcotte had Bruno Massot do like a Zoom call with all of us to
Okay.
learn about Twist.
Mm-hmm.
And what Bruno could tell us, and to his credit, he was not a coach yet at this point, or like not a high-level coach, but he told us, and again, I'm paraphrasing, something to the effect of, I don't know, I just think legs, arms, turn forward.
All right.
So-
All righty then.
Okay. Cool.
Yes.
God, the like raw talent and like kind of perfect pairing of
Yes,
the two people is the
physicality.
only way that you can execute that with so little thought.
And like
that way.
he is so tall that like when he bends
Yeah.
down to get her, by the time he stands up, she's already flying. But if speaking from as a chronic hater of the Twist, who really tried to rework it every off season till I retired, it's so tricky because if you learn, I think for my case, I learned with technique that was maybe a little bit old school and not super efficient. I learned different than my partner Mike did. It was challenging for me to change the technique from so many years of muscle memory, and I was scared of it. So it was difficult too in a way because I knew the changes I had to make, but it took such baby steps for me to make them because I was fucking terrified of this thing.
Mm.
And it's such a timing thing too, right? Like sometimes the woman can make the correction, but the man doesn't. Sometimes the man makes the correction, the woman
Right.
doesn't. Like there just are there's so much room for error in the Twist.
And I will say, I don't think Aliona Savchenko had a fear issue.
I don't think so. It really doesn't appear as such. So
She's not really a fear-based kind of woman.
it doesn't seem like it. So
No.
love that for her. But yeah, their Twist was awesome. And they at one point, they would do a twist and catch it. And so in order to get a feature, to get that level 4 that Max was upset he didn't get, you can't have the woman, to get the clean catch feature, you can't have the woman touch any part of your body. You can only be touching her hips, and everything else
Yes.
has to be suspended in the air
Yes.
as you put her onto the ice. And Aliona and Bruno would do this thing where he'd catch her, and then he'd like pick her back up into a platter lift, and they'd do this like cartwheely thing on the way down.
I remember
was-
seeing
it was
that.
crazy.
Crazy impressive.
No.
But they ended up taking it out because they wouldn't get the catch feature, because often in the process of like pushing her back up into a lift, some part of her body would touch him, you know?
Mm.
And so it just wasn't worth it, which was a shame because it was incredibly innovative, so cool, and no one else could do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a rule issue. Like,
Totally.
If you I feel like it should be, you can't.
Clean catch or full lift after.
Well, clean catch should not then also apply to
a dismount,
like an exit flourish of some kind.
Totally.
It should be like, I did a clean catch and now we're doing an exit flourish.
Yes, totally.
And so we get the clean catch. But
it was always curious to me why they didn't quad, because it was so huge. But
yes.
I never did a quad twist. I never attempted one. But from speaking to Alexa, I understand that the mental load that the quad twist takes is maybe sometimes not worth it. Even actually, I read while I was studying for this that Tarasova said the same thing. Tarasova and Morozov did do the quad twist, and it just took such a mental stress to be able to do it. And it was so technically challenging that the risk of error was high. I wonder if they were like, no, we're going to do a level 4 triple. We're going to get +5 across the boards, or 3, I guess, because it was still before 2018, and be done with it. And they did fine with that.
They did fine.
Did all right.
They figured it out.
They really did. They're a great match. They seem to be working great together. They're third at Worlds in their first appearance together. Worlds in Boston 2016 has Megan and Eric first, Sway and Han second, Eliona and Bruno third, Stoblova, Klimov are fourth, and Trasa Morozov are fifth, Volosozhar, Trankov sixth, Lubov and Dylan seventh, Kirsten and Mike eighth, Alexa and Chris ninth, Vanessa and Morgan 10th. So a lot of names that you'll continue to see. Tatiana and Max announced that they will skip the next season because they're expecting their first baby. They will retire after this and eventually have 2 more kids. Tanya and Max will both perform in the popular show Ice Age in Russia. Max does some coaching, and the team actually does Tessa and Scott's second tour in Canada, which is titled Rock the Rink. After this season, Sway undergoes surgery on both feet. Her recovery takes several months, and they will withdraw from the Grand Prix season next season. Alexa and Chris Knierim, we haven't spoken about in great detail. We've talked about them in passing a couple times, but we'll talk a lot more about Alexa in the coming years. They teamed up in the spring of 2012. They started dating pretty soon after. In April of 2016, Alexa falls extremely ill with a rare, life-threatening gastrointestinal condition that causes her to lose a lot of weight and to become very weak. So this is only 1 month after Worlds. She has 2 abdominal surgeries. She's able to lightly lap around the ice in September. In November, she has an additional surgery, and they resume training in the middle of that month. So due to this, the team, of course, does not compete in the Grand Prix season. In the middle of this time, this team also gets married. So now they are officially Alexa and Chris Knierim. And as we record this podcast a few days ago, Alexa gave birth to their baby boy. Congratulations.
You have 5 days.
You have 5 days to return to the ice. It's been pretty close to 5 days, I think. So time's running out here.
Well, if she's not on the ice, we will be sending a cease and desist to get out of her bed. Stop resting. And start doing something with your life.
Zhao Yuyu and Yang Jin, as well as Cheng Peng and Hao Zhang, are 2 teams from China. I've mentioned them a few times. Yu and Jin were also originally with Luan Bo, but eventually changed to Hongbo Zhao and Yao Bin. Both teams found great success. At the end of this season, the Chinese Federation decided that these teams should swap partners. So Zhao Yuyu is going to now skate with Hao Zhang, and Cheng Peng will skate with Yang Jin. Because why not?
Switch them around. Switch the birthdays, switch the partners.
Whatever
I remember
works.
this being such a mystery. It's so hard to get information out of China, like true, trustworthy media coverage, at least that is like easy to access from English-speaking countries and internet. So I just remember being like, what was the reason? What was the reason?
I know.
And not ever really feeling clear on what it was exactly.
The only thing I could think of is Zhao Yuyu was maybe a little bit of a stronger jumper than Cheng Peng, so they wanted her with the stronger skater in general, which was Hao Zhang. He's obviously had a myriad of success up until this point. He's an Olympic medalist in 2006. That's my biggest guess, or my best guess, is that they thought that pairing together had a better chance to be successful moving forward. But I don't know, because again, it is really hard to, even now, like it's hard to find things on Shen and Zhao online. So it's, who knows? We don't know. But we're in the 2016-2017 season, and Yuko and Sasha, which is, I'm sure everyone knows by now, but this is Kavaguti and Smirnov. When we say Sasha, we're referring to Alexander. They return this season and they do one challenger event. We don't really see them much more internationally. They're 5th at Russian Nationals, and eventually in September of the following year, it's announced by their coach Tamara that they have retired. And there's really not a lot going on about what or out there that tells us what they're doing now, but I did just watch before our podcast started a YouTube video of them skating together in 2021, and they did a throw triple Szolkowy. So respect.
Not very elegant.
Not very fast.
No.
But they did it. I'm totally kidding. I really am kidding. Their throw triples were a little bit faster, right? Weren't they? I don't know. Anyway, they did throw triple. Respect. I'm not doing that anymore. There's no way. You couldn't pay me money.
I've never, no. Nothing but respect from me.
Aliona and Robin this season will win both of their Grand Prix. Though during the free skate in their second, Aliona tears a ligament in her right ankle on the landing of a throw triple axel. Ouchie. She decides to keep skating because, duh, of course she does. The ligaments do not completely rupture, but it takes a while to heal. So they withdraw from the Grand Prix final and from their nationals. They return at Europeans where they will finish second. Stoblova and Klimov, during training in the summer, also have an injury. Stoblova develops a severe inflammation in her ankle from changing boots, like figure skating boots. They will withdraw from Grand Prix and they'll return to competition in late December. Megan and Eric have a slower start to the season. They get a bronze medal at final. Team that wins final is Tarasova and Morozov. And new team of Zhao Yu and Hao Zhang are second. Megan and Eric come third, as I just mentioned. And they will also finish behind Sui and Han at 4 continents. They've included a throw triple axel in their short program this season, and though they're able to land it at Skate Canada, it's overall fairly inconsistent, and she took some hard falls on this thing at home. Like, she really was a trooper. It seems like the throw triple axel is a little bit of a gnarly one. I think because of the forward takeoff, if you miss the timing of that, it seems like you're susceptible to a very hard fall. We saw a lot of them from Aliona, and we're seeing them from Megan too, and these are two women who are very proficient at throwing. At Worlds, Eric starts to have a muscle spasm in his hip, which affects almost everything that they did. So they're coming in as 2-time defending world champions, and they're struggling hard. They can barely practice. They're not sure if they can compete. They struggle in particular in the free program, and they finish 7th at the event, their lowest finish since 2011. However, their perseverance to compete saves 3 spots for Canada, and we are ever so grateful. And they will, like Eric will say, that really plays into the decision to move forward and to do it. And they get 7th. The team that gets 6th, that makes that lucky number 13 for 3 points, is Lubov, Ilisheshkina, and Dylan Moskovich. Spoiler alert,
wow.
They will not use one of the 3 spots that they helped Canada to earn. Sui and Han make their season debut at 4 continents, where they win with a new personal best. They skate to bridge over troubled water this season, and it is a fucking masterpiece.
Yes, it is.
It is insane.
The Rain in Your Black Eyes program might edge this out for my favorite of their programs, but this program was a revelation. I feel like it made me see, and a lot of people see Sui and Han in a completely different light.
Yes. I remember watching it in practice at 4 continents and crying in the stands. I was not in their group. I'm warming up, so I'm like focused.
It was beautiful.
But they're doing it with 60% of the elements, and it was so special. It was so special.
Mm-hmm.
Please go and watch it. They're going to bring it back, but I almost like version 1 better. Please go watch it. You must watch it.
Lori Nickel is in her bag.
She is
in 2017.
Slaying all those games.
Yeah.
They've taken out the throw quad. They're instead doing a quad twist. So when they do a triple twist, they opt to do one arm up, a la Brian Boitano. That is a level feature that they can get. When they do the quad twist, they rotate normal with actually both arms in front, which is unusual because lots of girls rotate with one arm behind. Tell me, Adam Rippon.
Okay, I was so I have a lore thing.
Tell us.
That now this is another thing where Sarah's going to go. Here we go. So if you
what
remember,
does that mean?
I first did like the Ripon Lutz, like I'm doing the 2 arms over the head, right? And when I started doing it, I'm like the first person to do it. They call it a Ripon Lutz. It's how cool. Now, Shen and Zhao are coming back for the Vancouver Olympics, and I was working with them to try to tell them like how I got my arms up because they wanted to do the twist with like 2 arms over their head. Now, to cut to the end of that story, wasn't a good teacher. They never did it.
You said, I just think arms, forward,
Up.
turn. What were the things
Yeah,
Bruno
I said-
Legs, arms, turn forward.
Yeah.
Yes. And just it never clicked. But that just made me think of
Well,
that.
you know who actually did that in a throw, who did a rip-on throw, was Vanessa James and Morgan Seapray. They did that on their throw triple Salchow. It was money. And you know who did a Boitano one is Miriam and Severin of Austria.
Ziegler.
Thank you so
And
much.
Severin
and Severin
Kiefer.
Kiefer, yes.
Oh,
God,
wow.
I love them.
I love them too.
They were like one of my favorite little teams. I loved them. And they did this program in Pyeongchang too. I would walk 500 miles.
Yes.
This like cover of it that was so gorgeous. And just, they're so nice. And
They're so
anyway.
nice. She's visiting Vancouver next week. I'm going to see her. You can cut that out. But I really like her.
You can tell her that I really like her. And I don't feel like we need to cut it out.
Keep it in. Great. Hear that, Adam? Mr. Editor?
Keep this in.
Okay, Sway misses the side-by-side triple Salchow in the free program at Worlds. This element is a difficult point for them throughout their whole career. They really struggle with the second jump. The toe, they've really kind of got it sorted. The Sao is tough. It's tough for them. It's tough for Chang Peng, who also struggles with it. It's a struggle. Most of these teams coming out of China are struggling with the second side-by-side jump, and Sui and Han are no exception. They're still superior. They win the event, winning the short and the free. They win their world title here in 2017 Worlds. I think in Finland, I want to say it was.
Correct. In Helsinki.
In Helsinki.
Yes.
Evgenia Tarasova and Vladimir Morozov teamed up in 2012, also at Nina Moser's school. This is another team of Nina's. Their main coach initially was Stanislav Morozov, who we know as being the partner of Tatiana Volosozhar and also Alyona Savchenko a bajillion years ago.
Yes.
1 week into Evgenia and Vlad's partnership, Vlad broke his foot. He's off for 3 months. But once they eventually get rolling, they did 1 Junior Grand Prix, and then they jump right into Senior. But they do go to Junior Worlds that year in 2013. They come 5th. Evgenia and Vlad have always done sort of like Russian classical style, and they show up with a long program this season to music by John Miles. It's tough. It's a tough one.
Never good to have a program described
as
as
tough.
tough.
It's just not like they're trying to be something that they're
Yeah.
not. It's hard to watch. I'm rewatching this, listening to American commentators. They're saying the same thing. So they have a quad twist in the program, which is new for them this season. They have a challenging Grand Prix season. They finish 5th in the free and 3rd overall at Skate America and 2nd at Trophy Air Bombard. They only qualify 5th to the Grand Prix final, but they win the event. They also win Europeans a couple months later. And then, as I just mentioned, they will win their first world medal, which is a 3rd place at this 2017 World Championships. Alyona and Robin finished 2nd at Worlds to Sway and Han, following a challenging mid-season injury, so they're kind of not thriving, but they're getting the job done. Stoblova Klimov are a shocking 13th after the short, after missing 3 elements in a row. Twist, he falls. Throw, she falls. Triple toe, she falls. Tough.
Wow, yes, I remember this now.
Pink dress.
I had forgotten all about
Beautiful.
this.
I think it was
Yeah.
Claire de Lune. It's like a beautiful piece of music.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
But very difficult.
Which is a rough piece of music to fall to 3
right,
times.
not effective. We
No.
think that somebody is gonna. We think a Barbara Fusar-Poli death stare is coming. We're sure of it. They finish the program, and she's legitimately laughing. She starts laughing. We're not even kidding.
She suffered a psychotic break. She can't even be mean to him.
Which is weird to all of us because we've never really seen her smile before.
No, that's so true. I was just going to think we've never seen her laugh, so we know she's not well.
No, but anyway, they rise to 5th from 13th after coming 3rd in the free. So it's a great recovery. Alexa and Chris are the lone American entry to the free program when compatriots Haven Denny and Brendan Fraser do not qualify for the free. They have this totally uncharacteristic short.
Rough.
Brandon falls on the triple sow, Haven lands. It just is a totally uncharacteristic short program for them. But as we know, this is 2017 Worlds. We're deciding Olympic spots here.
Yeah, they were distraught.
And knowing Brandon, how we know Brandon, even more so now that we've seen him maybe a little bit more in the media with his partner with Alexa, spoiler alert. He's a very, I would say, like Camden once said, he's an empath. I would say Brandon Fraser also probably an empath, just a very kind human that wants to do the best for his country and his partner. And so they don't make the free. So now Alexa and Chris are in this position where they have to finish in the top 10 for the USA to still get 2 spots to go to Olympics in Pyeongchang the next season.
They do it.
So
intense.
They come 10th. That's stressful. Mike and I had to do that in 2018 when 3 Canadian teams went to Worlds and 2 didn't make the free. We were the only ones. We had to come top 10. They do it, but wait. So they
I'm waiting.
They come 10th. America's thrilled because under most circumstances, this 10th place mixed with the 18 that Brandon and Haven have been awarded by not making the free makes 28. Top 28 gives you 2 spots. So this is a big deal. But with all of the Olympic quota spots taken ahead of them, the U.S. only gets 1 because that's all there's left. So we could talk about this all day. Sarah could probably talk about it better. But unlike Worlds, there's only a certain amount of quota spots that are given at the World Championships for Olympics. And so if you come top 10, yes, you're supposed to get 2. But since Canada got 3 ahead of them,
China got 3, Russia got 3.
There's only 1 left for USA, and so that's devastating.
Too many.
There's just too much happening above them, and so. But this Worlds though is an extremely high scoring event with the top 3 in the short being over 79 points. That's crazy. The qualifying score is 62 points, which would have been 12th place the year before. Now it's 16th.
No, this was a great pairs quad. This is a great pairs era.
The qualifying score in 2016, to give you a reference, 1 year before was 52, 10 points lower. So that's a great, pairs are doing the thing. Canada's in a little bit of a sticky spot, as I mentioned, because Megan and Eric come 7th, but we are saved with Lubov and Dylan coming 6th and saving us 3 spots. We move to the Olympic season. Stoblova, Klimov are 2nd at both Grand Prix this year, and they're 4th at final. In a shocking announcement, they are not sent to the 2018 Olympics because, as quoted by the Russian Skating Federation, Stoblova wasn't invited. It comes out later that there is a doping infraction.
That will get you uninvited, by the way.
That'll get you uninvited.
Sometimes.
Not always.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Russia says the unsubstantiated and absurd decision once again demonstrates the inconsistency of the IOC's statements denying the external influence on its decisions, as well as violates all the fundamental norms set forth in the Olympic Charter, in particular rejection of discrimination, respect for the principles of solidarity and fair play.
You'd almost like to believe that a norm would be not doping.
Yeah, you'd think so. Or not stealing pee at the Sochi Olympics. Because, look, I was taken to an unmarked room to try to pee at the Sochi Olympics. If our Canadian doctor wasn't like, this isn't right, we're not going here, that would have stole my pee too. So.
Oh my God. Wait.
Yes.
Wait. Please tell this story, please.
We get, at the 20, oh my gosh, now we're really backtracking, but at the 2014, Olympics.
I think everyone will forgive you now that you're telling the tale of hidden pee. Listen, if there's one Russian team I believe that didn't dope, it's the Protopopovs, because they were drinking their own pee.
True, but since then, Disaster.
But since then, but please, okay, it's Sochi, and you're going into an unmarked room to
Well, first,
take a
they're
doping
like
test.
calling the Canadian team for doping tests at the most ridiculous times, and they're doing it to skaters that are in the team event. So they're like getting Megan at like 5 a.m. the day of her team event.
Yep.
Oh my
They're
God!
getting-
Wait!
Right. So for me, for whatever reason, they didn't do that. They got me on my day off after we already competed. So that was sick. I was not really doing anything anyway. But our doctor goes with us. I don't know how you do it in the States, but in Canada, they had our team doctor accompany us to the room. And it's not a marked room. It's like not the normal room with the like very clear signage and the brown boxes on a table that you get to choose from to pick which box you want to have your sample in, so that they know that you chose your own box, can't be contaminated because you chose like 1 out of 7 choices.
Right.
That's not the case.
Right.
There's just like random equipment to provide your sample and a bathroom, and nothing's marked. There's like Russian soldiers with their equipment.
Which there usually aren't. When you
Right.
go to pee in front of the doping agent, there usually aren't armed Russian soldiers.
Right.
My eyes
and
have never been
if
bigger.
we were a federation that was maybe smaller, maybe an athlete attended without a doctor with them, like they probably peed. Like lots of people probably peed there. Our doctor was like, "No, we're not going here. Where's the room?" Like, well, she's gonna pee.
Or if you've never done if you've never been
if you don't know
randomly
the process, 100%. So
I'm so, oh my God, this is crazy.
crazy, right?
So when your doctor said we're not going here, did they take you to a room that was clearly marked?
Yeah, I went to the marked room and peed.
So they did. Okay, it wasn't like, oh, we just haven't finished setting up the room. It was like, no, there is a marked room and we're just taking you to a different
But
one.
they're not saying, they're like, it's a secondary whatever.
No,
I honestly
I'm sure.
don't
I'm
remember
sure.
much,
Mhm.
but I remember having to go and my doctor calling saying, "You're going to be called, just wait for me. I'll take you." And just waiting in my room.
That's
to go.
completely not right.
Well, this is
by the way,
in
so
Icarus,
if
is it
anybody's
not?
yes, I
Like-
mean if
Yes.
anybody's listening, it's like it's not never ever like this where it's like,
No.
oh sorry, just wrong room. Like this is not
No, this is not. This has never happened to me anywhere else.
But yes, this
Very
is
interesting.
roughly what Icarus covers, is
Right.
what they were trying to do in Sochi. Yeah.
So
Or what they did successfully in many cases in Sochi.
yeah, I think they did that successfully. I mean, maybe they did it with some people who provided their sample in the real room. I don't know. I don't really remember it, Chris. I'd have to rewatch it. I lived it.
that's crazy. It was probably just easier to do it in the unmarked rooms because there are also other non-Russian people in those doping rooms. It's not like whatever the host country. It's all of these like people
No,
who
it's
work
tons
with
of people.
yes, from all over the world.
Yeah. At the end of a competition, you'll be in a doping room waiting to provide your sample because it's not always easy to provide it right away, especially when you've just competed and emptied your bladder because you don't have to pee while you're competing. Sometimes it takes a minute. You're like sitting in the doping room with an Italian dance team and a French men's competitor
And the agents there too.
right?
Like, they're
and
all from-
of your buddies. You have to have a buddy so that they know that you don't contaminate your own sample. Everybody's in there. Anyways,
wow.
Anyways, so Stolbova's not invited.
Stolbova's
to the
not invited to the
2018
Olympics. She cannot come.
Yes.
She wasn't allowed to use Kirsten's pee.
No, she cannot. They also say, so the Russian Federation also says, we intend to immediately begin the struggle to restore a fair attitude to Russian skaters and defend the honor and dignity of our athletes in all possible ways.
They didn't do a great job of that.
As we know, the IOC doesn't really ban people for nothing. So there's that.
Well, and they sort of immediately reinstate their honor. When exactly? Was it in 2022 when there was a huge doping scandal, or did I miss the part where...
No, you missed the part where they were getting their honor back.
I think I did. I think I have
but
missed
but
it.
the problem is, so did they.
Yeah, that's the tough part about that.
It's
Well,
yeah, it's hard when they miss it.
Stoblova and Klimov withdraw from Worlds, obviously, and they end their partnership. Klimov retires. There's no love lost. Senyu will get a new partner. It's a total shit show. Nikolai Morozov is the coach. Klimov now coaches alongside Dmitry Savin, who will come up a lot later in the lore episode. He is quite a prevalent coach in the pair scene. Megan and Eric start this season recycling their long program from their first world title to a selection of Muse songs with a new costume. So that was the long program they used in 2015 when they won. It doesn't go over quite how they like. It's not quite as effective the second time around. So for the second half of the season, they switch to their free from their second world title, much to Sarah's pleasure and agreement, and my own hometown glory.
And mine, too.
And Adam Rippons. We all agree. Great choice.
Triple the pleasure.
Good choices. Aliona and Bruno. In November, Bruno gets German citizenship, allowing him to compete in the Olympics. So that would be November of 2017. And in December, they win Grand Prix final with a world record score. They will withdraw from Europeans to allow them more time to prepare for Olympics. So the Grand Prix final looks like this. It's Aliona and Bruno first, Sui and Han second, Meg and Eric third, Senya Fedor fourth, Tarasova Morozov fifth, Zhao Yu and Hao Zhang sixth. The Russians can only compete as Olympic athletes from Russia, which, by the way, they do not give a shit about. They don't care. That's not a penalty for them.
No, they do not care, and they get to choose their own national anthem.
They're totally fine. They're listening to like Rachmaninoff.
Dua Lipa. They chose Dua Lipa, which is a huge honor. It's a huge honor. Actually.
They're totally fine.
The worst part is that they just had to wear those, and they truly were quite ugly. Gray team.
Yes, the gray
those
outfits
were ugly. Those were tough.
That is a punishment.
And the kit is like some of the coolest part about the Olympics. So yeah, that sucks for sure. Evgeny and Vlad take gold in both of their Grand Prix. They finish a disappointing fifth in the final, as I mentioned. At Europeans, they're fifth in the short. They win the free, and they will win overall. They have a questionable, at the very best, free program to Candyman.
One of the greatest, worst programs of all time.
The bumblebee outfit.
And like singing Cherry Pop makes you cherry pop.
Yes.
It's really just very difficult for me. It really just makes you wonder who the hell picked it and why is it allowed to be on the Olympic stage. In the individual event, Tarasova and Morozov are second after the short, less than a point from the lead. Okay? The lead is Sui and Han. They're in the kiss and cry with Robin Szolkowy, who we know as Aliona's former partner. We are all thinking, oh my fucking god, is he going to help this team beat Aliona so she does not win the Olympics again?
This is, by the way, her fifth Olympics. She's 34 years old.
And she's fourth after the short.
I mean, in pair terms, actually in any skating terms, but especially I think in pair terms, felt at that time like ancient. It was just like amazing that she was still skating at such a high level at that point. And she went to her first Olympics in 2002.
Yeah, bonkers. Cuckoo crazy.
Like when she was 18 years old. And she had just come so close twice.
Indeed. Well, let's talk about Aliona and what I like to call the you doubled herd across the world.
That's right.
They have this really cute short program. It is so cute. And overall, just they are really packaged well during their partnership in a way that they weren't always when she skated with Robin. And mind you, she does the costuming. I think she has a big creative say in her teams, but I really like, for the most part, kind of always what her and Bruno are bringing to the table. I really love this short. I think it's called That Man, and it's super cute.
That is what it's called. It's like a flapper.
Yeah,
program.
She's like a little headband and like a flippy skirt. Super cute, love.
Mm-hmm.
In the short program, Bruno doubles his planned triple Saukout, and sometimes when your partner doubles, you know, and sometimes you don't know. Depends on where you're placed in relation to your partner, and also the timing. Like, they typically, when they double, they're going to come down a little bit before you. So if you're at an angle where you can see that, you might be able to know. But she did not know. So they finish, and all we see is a close-up of Aliona looking at Bruno saying, "You doubled?"
Oh, no.
Sui and Han win the short program at Olympics, but are only third in the free, with a negative grade of execution on both jumps and only a level 2 pair spin. Their long is to Turandot and Nessendorma, and Turandot 16 years after their coaches did Turandot at the 2002 Olympics, which is cool. The pair spin really is what loses them the Olympics, as the level 4 would be roughly a point higher than the 2, and they lost the Olympics by 0.5. They are interviewed after, and they're very upset. Song says something to the effect of, "It's over," and Sway lovingly smacks him, which they kind of had that brotherly, sisterly relationship. And she says, "It's not over. In 4 years, we will do it at home," referencing the Beijing Olympics. Megan and Eric were the only pair at this Olympics to skate both segments of the team event, as pairs was the first event to go. So they didn't have a lot of turnaround time. They're doing a short and a long, then they have a day off, then they're doing a short and a long. Canada had a big chance of winning the team event gold, and they were by far the best chance of making that happen. So Canada didn't want to take any chances. They wanted to put their strongest competitors in for both the short and the long in all disciplines. They ended up doing it in men, dance, and pair, and in the women they split it between Caitlin Osman and Gabby Dielman, I think because Gabby Dielman won nationals, so it made sense to split the women's discipline.
And they were both world medalists, too.
Yeah, absolutely, from the previous year. It made a lot of sense. So Megan and Eric in the individual event are third in the short, and they're second in the free, capturing their first Olympic individual medal. Canada comes away with the gold in the team event, so they've earned a gold and a bronze at these games to go with their team event silver from 2014. They elect not to go to Worlds and announced their retirement in April, so we think. They both will compete on Battle of the Blades, and they'll do some shows together. Eric says he'd like to coach and choreograph. Megan gives birth to her and Bruno's first daughter in October of 2019, and their second daughter in July of 2020, and now is coaching with Bruno, and is one of the coaches on Riku and Ryuichi's coaching team. Aliona and Bruno skate a magical, clean program that still goes viral on social media often. It's choreo by Benoit Richaud. They score a new world record, and on Aliona's 5th try at age 34, she wins the Olympics. It is incredibly inspiring, and she's quoted saying, "I never give up. All my life I've been fighting." They decide to go to Worlds because it's in Europe and their families can easily come and watch them skate. They once again score personal bests in the short and free, and they easily win the event. Following this victory, it's announced that they are taking an indefinite break from competition.
I'm sorry. I don't think the word magical even does justice to what they did at the Olympics. I can't even describe, when I think about their freeze, I feel like in this episode I'm sounding like such a pair stan, which
I love that so much.
I didn't realize that I was until we were doing this right now, but this program is one of maybe the single greatest performances I've ever seen in my whole life. And I think it partially because the program itself is perfect. They're perfect, but also because of the moment that it was for her specifically, and the amount that rode on it of it felt so now or never. She's she has to get it now or she won't.
Yeah,
ever.
Absolutely.
And when we watched this happen in the building, I remember feeling hot. I felt hot all over. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I could not believe it. I feel like I couldn't move.
When I think of this free program, I think of when they decided to create the Olympic Games.
Yes.
There are moments that transcend the human experience, and that for me is this free program where it's this is what the Olympics were supposed to bring out of people. It feels that important.
Yes,
truly.
It makes me want to cry. It's it's so incredible. They scored a 160, by the way, and then they went to Worlds a month later and did it again. They did another even more perfect version of this program.
Yeah, truly. I mean, there's a reason it's still going viral. You should watch it.
I can picture their opening pose with the infinity arms.
Yeah, totally.
Clear as day.
Yeah, it was special.
Okay.
It was special for sure. Vanessa James and Morgan Cypre.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about them for a minute. Vanessa was born in Canada and then moved to Bermuda and then the United States and then France. Because her father is from Bermuda, Vanessa has British citizenship as well as Canadian as well as French. Her first Olympics was in 2010 with her former partner Yannick Bonner. Morgan was born in France and competed on the Junior Grand Prix in singles, actually, and this team started skating together in September 2010. They really start to progress in this 2017-18 season, and Vanessa is quoted saying, "Our main problem before was that we were different people on the ice, and we needed to change that and to increase the connection between the two of us." They have this Sound of Silence free program that from the year before that proves to be a great choice, and it's such an amazing program for them. They bring it back for this season.
And it becomes a little bit of a warhorse, that particular
does.
cover they use by Disturbed of The Sound of Silence across disciplines.
It was special. I really liked this program for them. In March, they become the first French pair to medal at Worlds since 2000. They finish in third place at this World Championships following the Olympics. Aliona and Bruno, as I mentioned, they say they're taking an indefinite break from competition. They both start working as coaches, and both skaters have 2 kids. Aliona has 2 daughters, one very recently, and Bruno has a daughter and a son. In 2023, Bruno comes out with an article regarding Aliona and their partnership. It's tough. He calls her, and his quote, a tyrant. He says, quote, "Technically, we were in perfect harmony. Psychologically, not at all." He says it could start from something very simple, but it was almost like hitting each other. She knew exactly where to poke to make it hurt. I was insulted on the ice. I was a piece of shit to her. So many things happened. That's a quote. He says one day he was sick as a dog. She called him lazy. That evening he was in intensive care for a bronchopulmonary infection.
Which is lazy.
Totally.
And like we said, this is what the Greeks had in mind when they created the Olympic Games.
Exactly. They don't make people like that.
No.
They don't make people like that.
Right.
And it's weak to be sick.
Yeah, it truly, like that one time you got the flu right before nationals. You shouldn't have done that.
No, and I'm still paying the price today. I'm still paying the price for my weakness.
Yeah. Well, as you should.
I mean, it's a constant theme in all the lore that we've done so far, and that in the women's that we will do, is that there is, of course, like kind of an ugly other side of this like intense competitiveness that these kinds of goals and this kind of career brings out of some people. That's just a reality. It's not always good. I'm not saying it's right. It's just,
I don't know that it has to, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that it, I think with some people, that's the natural, it's like a chemical reaction, right?
Yes,
it's like with some people, that is the reaction that happens when you put them in this kind of environment with these kinds of goals and whoever they're around and whatever. And with some people, it's not.
Yeah. And so at the end of this article, he says at the end of 2022, he had to go to a competition in Poland as a coach where Aliona would be. A week before the departure, I began to stress. In the end, she didn't come. It freed me completely. So they do not have a relationship anymore. It would appear.
But they have an Olympic gold medal.
They sure do. Can't take that away.
No, you can take someone's dignity away, but not their medal, ever.
And they have one of the greatest moments of my life. So,
yeah.
Well, someone should tell them that.
I'm trying to. I hope they hear this.
In 2018-2019, the +5 -5 GOE system comes into play. Vanessa and Morgan get both programs choreographed by ice dancers. Their shorts done by Charlie White. Their free done by Guillaume. It really shows their improved skating skill and transitional difficulty. They've done throw quad sow in the past, but are realizing that the triple done cleanly is getting them more GOE, so they're going more that route for now. Their programs appear easy for them. They qualify for a Grand Prix final after setting a new world record in the free skate at Skate Canada. They win the free at final, they win overall. So they're having a great season. They win Europeans in January of 2019, the first French team to do so since 1932. At Worlds in March, Vanessa has a collision on short program warm-up with Matteo Guarise. Both of them fall. Vanessa and Morgan aren't really able to shake it off. They finish 7th after this short program at Worlds with several errors. In the free, they're 3rd. They'll be 5th overall. At the end of the free program, they announce they will keep skating until they win a world title. Following this season, they're given 2 Grand Prix assignments for the next season, but it is also announced that Vanessa is going to compete on the TV show Battle of the Blades in Canada. They obviously can't do both things, so something fishy is going on. We don't know what it is. Tarasova and Morozov have a rocky start to the season, placing only 3rd at final. They have their first clean skates at Russian Nationals. They come second to Vanessa and Morgan at Europeans. In detail, they're obviously very disappointed by losing the gold medal. They skate well at Worlds. They lead after the short, but they're second in the free and second overall to Sway and Han, who debut Sarah's favorite long program To Rain in Your Black Eyes for this season. Lori Nickel feels like the composer of this piece's own personal struggles connected to Sway's previous injuries and struggles with her injuries. They do withdraw from both Grand Prix this season due to injury. They come back from 4 continents and win the event by 0.06 over second-place finishers, More Towers and Marinero. Thank you so much for Wikipedia for the reminder.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that. They feel like they need to become more familiar with their program to improve. It's true. It's their first competition back. At Worlds, they skate 2 clean programs, setting personal bests in both. They score a world record in the short until Tarasova and Morozov break it later on in that event. They win this championship by over 6 points. It is a masterpiece. This world podium also sees Natalia Zabayako and Alexander Enbert. Natalia competed for Estonia till 2014, qualified for the Olympics but couldn't compete because her partner couldn't obtain citizenship.
I have a question.
Ask me anything.
Thank you. Is this, or is this not, the season when Zabiako and Enbert do that program where they're sword fighting in their choreo sequence?
Oh my gosh, I can't remember.
I think it is.
I think
it was post-Olympics.
It must be. Yes, it is.
I don't know why, but it stands out in my mind that they did this at Grand Prix Finland because Grand Prix Finland never existed before this season.
Yeah.
And so
I could see it. They also had one with a costume change. They did fun stuff. I didn't rewatch, so I can't be sure, but they started skating together in July 2015. They qualify for final this year. They have withdrawn from Euros due to injury, but they skate really well at Worlds. They finished 3rd. It's their first world medal. Following this season, Tarasova and Morozov announced they are moving to the United States to train with Marina Zueva on what they are lacking. In 2019-2020, we haven't seen Vanessa James and Morgan Cypriot since the 2018 Worlds. We don't really know why. In December 2019, Christine Brennan reports that Cypriot is under investigation by United States for having sent a picture of his genitals to a 13-year-old girl who was a student at their training center. The skater reported that coaches Zimmerman and Fontana were accused to have known about it and attempted to cover it up heading into the 2018 Olympics. Zimmerman was suspended for this, and James and Cypriot do not compete again. These allegations factored into the scandals that also forced the resignation of Didier Gallagher. So on December 8th, the Florida State Attorney's Office filed a 3rd-degree felony charge against Morgan Cypriot for transmission of material harm to a minor by electronic device, which carries up to a 5-year prison sentence, and issued a warrant for his arrest. The investigation remains ongoing. I think he's back in France. We don't know.
Right, he fled the country, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I believe so.
Okay.
So that is the end of that team as we know them. Sway and Han, can you believe, win their first Grand Prix final title this season? They're the first Chinese team to win finals since Shen and Zhao. Corona starts to be prevalent for this team more than others because of the situation in China, so they find it difficult to focus and be prepared at 4 continents. This is where we see, for the first time, really, Anastasia Mishina and Alexander Galyamov.
Yes.
They have a ton of success on the junior world circuit with former partners. She does, actually, with former partners. And then, again, with Alexander. She's junior world champion and junior world bronze medalist. She's junior Grand Prix final champion. She and Alexander teamed up in February 2017. They're coached by Ludmila Velikova. She has also coached Stoblova and Klimov, as well as Shishkova and Naumov, and Petrova and Anton Sigerlitse. So she's had her fair share of great Russian teams before they go to more renowned coaches. They, fresh off of a Junior Worlds win, the team begins their first full senior season. They're extremely proficient jumpers. They have that classic Russian pair skating style. They win their first Grand Prix. They come second in the second one. They qualify for final. Amazing. We also see Boykova Kozlovsky. Boykova trained as a single skater in Alexei Mishin's group, as did Dmitry Kozlovsky. They start skating pairs in Moskovina's group with their other coach, Artur Minchuk. He actually skated pairs with Stoblova for a hot minute. This team is really on the rise. This season, they win their first Russian nationals. They're exciting. They have, again, this classic Russian pair quality that we see from tomorrow's teams. They win Europeans by a huge margin. They're on track to be world champions in their second appearance at the event. Similar to Kostarnaya, it feels like this was really their year to win worlds, and the only thing that wins worlds is COVID. Worlds
I wish you wouldn't talk to us about Kostarnaya. That was a really hard time.
I'm so sorry.
For us.
That was a hard time for me too. I'm really sorry. I haven't heard women's lore yet. I don't know if that will have been before pairs lore, but
will
I'm sure
not.
Okay,
You'll hear about
I'm sure
it.
we'll hear about Kostarnaya in the future.
Yeah, so Sarah will hold on to that pain for, I don't know, maybe 4 more weeks.
Sorry, Sarah. I'm so sorry.
I've been holding on to this pain for 5 years. It's nothing new.
Well, they ask us if we have an interview 2 days before we're supposed to leave for Worlds. They ask us if we expect it to be canceled. We think it's ridiculous. We're like, what the fuck do you mean it's going to be? No, it's not going to be canceled. Of course it's not going to be canceled. And then it's canceled. Wah, wah. Alexa and Chris Knierim, I haven't talked about them in a hot minute. They're having a difficult time in their on-ice partnership, not off-ice, with Chris having some mental health struggles that are impacting their ability to train and compete. They do compete the short at 4 continents this season. They have a few mistakes, and Alexa will do the practice the next day between short and long days by herself. She's like very visibly upset during this practice. Chris is not there. They will eventually, later in this day, withdraw from the free program and not compete. Shortly after that, they will also withdraw from Worlds, and it's announced that Chris is stepping away from the sport. Alexa is quoted saying, "I'm his wife over being his partner. We know skating ends and life continues." Chris states, "I look forward to watching her keep skating and will support her in every way I can. Alexa is very tenacious and strong. She's fire on the ice. Nothing will stop her." Cute.
And true.
Enter Brandon Fraser. The 20 to 21 season, nothing's really happening. Everything's uncertain. Countries are holding domestic events as Grand Prix. Countries like Canada and France are holding none at all. Some countries hold national events, some do not. Everyone shows up at Worlds to try to earn spots for Olympics in a bubbled event that was actually run really quite well. But for us in Canada, we didn't get a Grand Prix and our nationals were cancelled, so we hadn't competed since the following Worlds, 11 months earlier. So it was a time to be alive, trying to travel during COVID and earn spots for your country when you haven't had that competition pressure in some time. In big news, Hao Zhang retires from competitive skating approximately 20 years after we first see him. In other big news, on April 1st, Alexa announces that she's teaming up with Brandon Fraser, who had split from former partner Haven Denny. They start training together really in May. Chris is on their coaching team. They win Skate America in 2020, which is really just a domestic event, but still America has some great pair teams at this time. And they've beaten Jessica Cowling and Brian Johnson, who really had established themselves as one of America's top teams. Alexa and Brandon win their first national title together with a score of 228, the highest in U.S. history. They will come 7th at Worlds this year.
In their first season together.
Yeah. Sway and Han haven't had much training due to COVID restrictions. They declared themselves at 70 to 80% and are proud of what they accomplished in 2 months. They're able to come second at Worlds. Mashina and Galyamov in the spring of 2020 switched to train under Tamara Moskvina.
Mm-hmm.
In their first appearance with Moskvina, they finish ahead of Boykova and Kozlovsky. This is going to be a problem. However, at Nationals, they have a difficult time. They finish off the podium. They're in competition with another Russian team for the 3rd World Championship spot. So they almost don't qualify for Worlds. They will go to Worlds and win in their first appearance at the event.
Mm-hmm. Wait, and don't they skate to like the We Are
Bohemian
the Champions?
Rhapsody. Yeah, that's in it.
Is it
Wasn't
Queen
it Bohemian
medley?
It's Queen. It's Queen. It's Queen.
Yeah.
You got it. All the Russians are getting COVID at some point through this season, and at Worlds, Evgenia asked me if I was going to get vaccinated. I said yes, but it wasn't available in Canada yet, so I was not able to do it just yet. I asked her the same question, and she told me, no, I don't need to. I already had COVID.
Right.
I have it now.
Okay. Well,
And now you do, and now you don't need it.
This was a fascinating time in Russian pairs, I felt like.
it really was.
Like, Mishina Galyamov and Boykova Kozlovsky were both incredible young teams. They had such, I mean, Moskvina works with both of them at this point, but like they had such classic Russian technique, and they were so good. They were
so good.
And at the same time as this is happening, I feel like Tarasova and Morozov were finding their stride too, separately in like a different way than they had before when they were doing like Candyman in the last quad. Like, I feel like they started leaning into more classical pieces, which really suited them. And so these three teams were just amazing.
Yeah,
they were amazing.
They truly were. They truly were. It was a treat. It was a treat to watch them. So Worlds 2021 looks like first Mishina Galyamov, second Sui Han, third Boykova Kozlovsky, fourth Tarasova Morozov, fifth Pang and Jin, sixth Kirsten and Mike, seventh Alexa and Brandon, 10th Riku and Ryuichi. This is the first time that Ryuichi will qualify for the free program at Worlds. So from 1 to 5 there is Russia and Chinese teams, none of which who will compete at the World Championships the following year. In the 2021-2022 Olympic season, Eric Radford will decide to return to competitive skating with Vanessa James in 2021. Megan feels blindsided. She says as much online. It gets quite messy. Eric Radford choreographed programs for Evelyn Walsh and Trent Michaud, who are at this time the second Canadian pair. They go to the Stockholm Worlds to qualify teams for the Olympics, and Evelyn and Trent and Eric have conversations about him choreographing for them the next season before they know that he's going to come back and compete and likely take one of the 2 Olympic spots. Mike and I were going to skate to a composition by Eric. He was going to help choreograph it with Julie. That didn't happen either with the news of them being our competitors, which makes sense to me. Radford says of his return, I know a lot of people are probably going to ask why. For me, it's more of a question of why not. Megan decides she will return to a fall tour of Stars on Ice with guess who? Do you remember?
No.
Dylan Moskovich.
Oh
my God. Wait, it's not, I can't even think of that happening.
No, me neither. And unfortunately, we never saw it because it got canceled due to COVID.
Okay.
That's probably part of why I don't remember this.
Yeah.
It never happened.
Yeah.
In June of 2021, only 6 weeks after Savchenko's retirement announcement, it's announced that she's requested to be released to U.S. figure skating, which was granted. She skates for a short time with TJ Neiman, but it essentially dissolves because he has some claims made against him.
Oh my God, Kirsten.
Do you remember that?
I forgot any of this happened.
Yeah.
Any of this.
I remember live barn videos.
Oh my God.
Yes. There was like
where
security footage.
TJ was like seemingly teaching her about lifts, which is funny because she's really good at pairs.
Right.
So, and I mean, everything looks like something on a video. It's possible that it wasn't what it looked like, but
The fact that we were watching those videos at all.
Oh, yeah.
oh, I watched every one.
Right.
I watched every one of those videos.
This is how I found out what Live Barn was.
Truly, we don't really have it in Canada, I don't think. So maybe we do. I don't know it. We don't have it in any rinks I skate in or work in. But anyway, Mishina and Galyamov go to the Olympics. They're the lone pair entry in the team event. They do well in the short, but they both fall on the final lift in the free. They're fucking gassed. They both fall down in the lift, which is not normal. We do not usually see this from them. At this point, we've already learned about the Russian doping scandal, which will eventually come out as being Camilla. But when we first hear of it, do you remember this, Adam? We don't know who it is.
Yes.
I remember
remember
this.
walking through the coach's hotel, because I was a coach there.
Yeah.
And just hearing that, like, you know, at first the talk was, are we going to go watch the medal ceremony for the team? And then all of a sudden, like, that bus to the podium was getting canceled. Somebody was like, yeah, we don't know why. They're not telling us why the award ceremony is getting postponed. Then, you know, there's talk of like, well, Putin wants to be there for the ceremony. So they're like postponing it for his arrival.
Of course.
And
There was a rumor that went around that it was because someone had COVID too.
right.
Yes.
And
like
anything was possible at this time.
but people,
Anything.
I don't think anyone was talking about doping right away.
No, nobody was. It wasn't
Okay.
even crossing anybody's mind. But then when we found out there was a positive test, one, Alexander Zhulin, who was a dance coach, goes, we were all nervous when we found out there was a positive test because it could have been
anyone.
anybody. And he says it fully serious.
Well, and he says it so casually, like not thinking anything of it. He's like, yeah, I mean, it could have been anyone.
I think when I found out, did I call you, Sarah? Did I know before you knew?
You knew before I knew, but I think once, so you knew the rumor before I knew the rumor, but I knew the confirmed information before you knew the confirmed information.
That
yes.
makes sense.
Yes.
Because once,
we were colluding together, by the way, Kirsten, because I was boots on the ground and she was
As you
hands on the
should.
computer.
What else are you doing in your friendship? You're not doing that.
that's so true. If you're not
Exactly.
colluding against cheaters,
Russia.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why even be
literally.
friends at that point?
Exactly.
Sway and Han bring back their bridge over troubled water for this season. Nobody is happier than me. Sway is quoted saying she hopes it can be a bridge for everyone to connect in these times. They win the short, but only by 0.16. And then in the free, Sway falls on the side-by-side triple Szolkowy, and it's deemed downgraded. So that's a big hit. They still win the free. They win overall by a very small margin. They
Thank
win
God.
by 0.63 over Tarasova, Morozov, who are not upset. Like, Tarasova is seen backstage. I saw her with my eyeballs, so she's seen backstage by me. Thanking a Terry who they've added to their coaching team this year, along with Max Trankov, thanking her in Russian profusely. Like, she's crying of happiness and thanking her. They were fourth at the Olympics in 2018. They're thrilled to have a medal now. Boykova and Kozlovsky are really disappointed. They finished fourth after minor mistakes. They've really expressed disappointment, and I think they're feeling slighted that Mishina and Galyamov are beating them. Mishina and Galyamov come third, but it's close. Sway and Han have 239, Tarasova Morozov 239, Mishina Galyamov 237. And then it's a little bit of a bigger margin before Boykova, Kozlovsky, who are fourth. Peng and Jin are fifth. Alexa and Brandon sixth. Riku Ryuichi seventh. Vanessa and Eric finished 12th.
I do have one additional thing to share about Mishina and Galyamov in Beijing.
Share.
Which is that Galyamov was occasionally wearing like a wrap on one of his wrists there. And Tamara Moskvina said he just wears it for attention. He just wants people to ask him if his wrist is okay.
I forgot about this.
Which is sort of important lore to me about this team.
We all should know that. I wish I knew that, but I truly believe it.
Oh, that's so funny.
Riku and Ryuichi we haven't talked about them together a lot. They're a Japanese pair. They teamed up in the 2019-2020 season. We've seen Ryuichi's name when he competed with Narumi Takahashi. They're coached by Bruno Marcotte, who's really done a great job in building them up since they arrived to Canada a few years ago. They strongly contributed to the team event, and this is the first time Japan earns a medal in the team event. And typically, the Japanese team has very strong single skating, not as strong pair and dance. So Riku and Ryuichi being able to have such high finishes in the pair event really does contribute to this bronze medal that will eventually be a silver. They're so likable. Ryuichi's goofy and silly. They're extremely hardworking. They're so easy to watch. They do a fantastic job at Olympics. They finished 7th. Alexa and Brandon are two on an upward trajectory in their partnership. They seem like they've skated together forever. They've melded their techniques so beautifully. They entered the U.S. Championships as the favorites to win, but upon arrival, Brandon gets COVID. I remember him posting like a very sad video on his Instagram about how he's devastated and he feels terribly and wishes he could compete. But I remember feeling like for the rest of the world, they were such a shoo-in for the Olympic team that it just didn't matter. We were like, yeah, I get you want to compete, but it's fine. Like, you didn't need to earn it. You already earned it.
Right.
You're good. It's totally fine. But they're able to go to the Olympics and compete. It will be his first appearance. Alexa and Brandon are on the team that wins the silver medal in the team event, will eventually be gold. They're in line, as Adam told us, to receive their medals when they learn that the ceremony is postponed. We'll later learn why. Later on at Worlds, we learn that the top 5 teams from Olympics will not be there because the Russian skaters are not able to participate due to the war on Ukraine, and the Chinese teams do not go. So teams 1 to 5 are not at the World Championships. So Alexa and Brandon really enter as medal favorites, and they really do a fantastic job in stepping into that. They will win the title, but not without drama. Their countrymates who are in second after the short, Ashley Kane-Gribble and Timothy Leduc, stop mid-program after Ashley falls 3 times. She doesn't get up from the third one. So it's a whole big medical situation. Medical personnel are running onto the ice. They get her off the ice, and Alexa and Brandon will skate next. So I remember seeing Alexa walking around and being like, okay, it's happening sooner. Like, here we go. Which can rattle you if you let it. It didn't. They skated an amazing free program. They get the job done. They've really seized an opportunity. And I don't often like to talk about how, those top 5 teams weren't at Worlds, because I think Alexa and Brandon would have done fantastic with the inclusion of those teams. So I don't want that fact to negate what they did there, or Riku and Ryuichi, who were second, but it was a great opportunity. They did fantastic to seize that opportunity.
Yeah, I actually think that seizing opportunities that are obviously open to you in that way can be harder than trying to beat someone who you think should beat you anyway.
Totally agreed.
So there's nothing to take away from them.
No. And in third place there is Vanessa and Eric. They earn a world bronze medal together. In May of 2022, it is announced that Zabiako is resuming her career and will compete for Canada with Zach Daleman under the coaching of Bruno Marcotte. Doesn't last long and they never competed, but I felt it was relevant to include it because Zabiako comes out as a lesbian and reveals she's in a relationship with a Russian tennis player. They announced their engagement not long ago in June.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Of 2025.
Me too.
And that's amazing, especially considering who the country she has competed for so many years and probably the propaganda that has been instilled in her. So
totally. And in the same vein, like backtracking to the Olympics, Timothy Leduc was among the first non-binary athletes at the Winter Olympics also.
That's right. I do want to mention at the 2022 World Championships, Ukrainians Sofia Holichenko and Artem Durensky do attend Worlds after having very difficult training situations as their country is under attack by Russia. They finished 13th in the short, but they withdraw after that because their training situation has been very sensitive. They haven't been able to train a free program. So they changed the short to Ukrainian music, and they skate for their country. And I remember it being very emotional.
Yes. Huge support from the crowd.
Yes. Yeah. And I remember Miriam and Severin of Austria, Ziegler Kiefer, as we talked about earlier, started cutting out hearts with the blue and yellow colors in support. And they were giving them to people in the audience, which was nice.
Angels.
We're moving on to 2022, 2023. We're going to try to zip past, okay? But I really want you to know about a couple of new teams here. First, Sarah Conti and Niccolo Macchi. They're an Italian team that teamed up together in 2019. They're also a couple off of the ice. They train in Bergamo with Barbara Luoni and the team there. Bergamo Ice Lab is an insane pair school. They have so many pair teams there. They and also Dmitry Savin and his group in Sochi are 2 of the most prominent pair schools at this time. Okay, Sarah Conti and Niccolo Macchi, along with Lucrezia Boccari, Matteo Guarise, Rebecca Ghilardi, and Filippo Ambrosini. Thank you so much. Also at Ice Lab. Also with Dimitri, we have Minerva Fabian-Hassa and Nikita Volodin. We have Maria Pavlova, Alexei Savchenko. So both of these schools have multiple teams in the top 10 at Worlds, which is incredible. Sarah Conti and Niccolo Macci have a somewhat slower start to their partnership, but this season, they teamed up in 2019, as I mentioned. This season, they've really refined their skating, and they've improved their technical repertoire. They're including a triple twist in their program for the first time. They are able to qualify for the Grand Prix final, where they finished third. Amazing. They are quoted saying, "Let's say we're still somehow outsiders who are getting almost too many results, but we're extremely happy about this result that we didn't expect at all." Winners of Grand Prix final are Riku and Ryuichi. Riku has injured her left shoulder in the summer of 2022. This keeps them from training until September, so they have a little bit of a slow start. They still are able to win both of their Grand Prix and the final. They go to Japan for nationals. Their luggage gets lost. They can't skate. The federation says they will still be considered for international assignments. I would hope so.
Considered over
nobody else.
Right.
Alexa and Brandon win both of their Grand Prix as well. They're the first American team to qualify for finals since Alexa did it with her husband Chris in 2015. They win the silver medal at final just behind Miura Kihara. They will win nationals this season by over 30 points. Unfortunately, 6 weeks after nationals, their coach Todd Sand has a heart attack and is hospitalized in Calgary at the Junior World Championships. Alexa and Brandon have to go to Worlds without him or their other coach, Jenny, who is, of course, in Calgary supporting her husband. They end up going with Shaylin Bourne. This season also sees the rise of Deanna Stellato and Maxime Deschamps. They're a pair team representing Canada. They teamed up in 2019. They've been kind of third in Canada for a couple of years. Deanna is American and Max is Canadian. Some things you need to know about them. Deanna is about to turn 40. Max has had something like 9 pair partners. Deanna quit skating for 16 years and came back inspired by Gracie Gold at Nationals in, I believe, 2016 with Firebird. Deanna is very fucking motivated to win. This season, they earned silver in their first Grand Prix and gold in their second. They go to final as medal favorites, but Deanna's been really sick, so it's a struggle for them. They're not really ready. They come fourth. She continues to experience health difficulties following the final, and they're struggling to train, but they really want to go to Worlds. Worlds has Riku and Ryuichi winning the title. They are the favorites in their home country. Their free, however, is a little bit tricky with a pop jump and a fall on the throw. They finish second in the free. They win overall, and they are shocked. Alexa and Brandon are second in the short at Worlds when Brandon has a fall on the side-by-side jump. They win the free, but they'll remain second to Miura and Kihara. They're quoted saying they did all of this for their coach, and that is where their hearts are. In third, we have Sarah and Nicolo. They have an insanely successful season. They're scrappy. They don't have the most difficulty in the lifts and the most impressive twist, but they are passionate Italians. They're getting the job done every time they go out. They're super fun to watch.
And they break up shortly after this.
They break up right after Worlds 2023.
Not on the ice.
Not on the ice. No. In 2023-2024, Boykova Kozlovsky switched to a Terry's group. They leave Tamara Moskovina. Boykova says, "In the last year with Tamara, I honestly couldn't handle it psychologically anymore. It was hard. I don't want to go into details. It would be unethical." Dima says, "This is our personal decision, our private matter, in which we consider ourselves justified." Kozlovsky's mom, who's a hoot, puts up an Instagram story saying, "It's a shame. They had no choice." She also puts up an Instagram story saying, "This has been long overdue." We're assuming this is due to the rivalry between them and Mishina and Galyamov.
Yeah, and there was, all of this being kind of alleged and just perception. But I remember there being, I think before Beijing, a competition they were both at where Boykova is visibly mad at Moskovina in the kiss and cry.
Oh yeah.
Is yelling at her. And everybody's just like, girl. And they had made a big mistake. It wasn't we were clean and we lost because you're politicking for them. It was like they had messed something up.
They started to make mistakes. They were like missing throw lutzes pretty often. So that's tough, but they move. We are not really going to talk about them much more. They're doing a throw quad now. It's really nice, but they're not relevant to our pair lore because they're not competing in
They're only competing in Russia, yeah.
Russia's banned. This season sees new team Minerva, Fabian Hasse, and Nikita Volodin. We know Minnie from her previous partnership with Nolan, who now coaches for her camp, but does not coach her. We haven't seen Nikita before, except for on the junior ranks about 10 years ago. This team is one of the teams that trains with Dmitry Savin, as I mentioned. They had to wait a while for Volodin to be released from Russia, and they initially couldn't communicate because Volodin couldn't speak German or English, and Minerva couldn't speak Russian, so the coach was translating for them. They were doing long program clean run-throughs like months before their season was even going to start. They were like hungry to win. In their first season together, they're like a little bit of an element exercise team. They don't quite have the full package yet because they're new, still developing, but they win Grand Prix final. They're incredible. They go to Worlds, they finish third. They come home with the bronze medalist, which is a remarkable feat for a team in their first season. Riku and Ryuichi are also suffering from an injury this season. Ryuichi has back pain and he's diagnosed with lumbar spondylosis. He requires major rehab and physiotherapy, and they withdraw from their Grand Prix. They get 2 new programs this season, but neither of them are working at all. So they scrap both. They get a new short to Dare You to Move, It's Fine, and they go back to their free program Woman from a couple of years ago. They are somewhat of underdogs going into Worlds. We have no idea what to expect, and I love them so much, but I wouldn't have bet on them. They just didn't have the run-throughs. In practices, they were looking a little bit crazy. Mm-hmm. And I remember Coach Bruno telling me it was uncharacteristic because they had been skating really well, but the practices were kind of a gong show. Against all odds, they skate a pretty good but not error-free free program, and they win the silver medal. They actually win the free program at Worlds. Following the performance, Ryuichi has a medical emergency, and he's requiring immediate medical attention, so they do not participate in the medal ceremony. People are kind of mad. They're viewed as bad sports, but they're not bad sports. I assume that he actually needed medical support and was physically not able.
I think Bruno says later that someone was having some trouble breathing, I think.
Yes, Ryuichi. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Deanna and Max are going into home Worlds this season. They capitalize on this. They skate to the Cirque du Soleil piece, L'Oxygène, for the short, and it's so sick. I love it so much. It's so fun. It really suits them. They go into final as gold medal contenders. They finish third. They look pissed, but they rebound pretty quickly. They have a pretty good Canadians, and it's sort of a warm-up for Worlds, where they take the gold at home. It was so cool to be in the building for this moment. Deanna, at age 40, becomes the oldest woman to win a figure skating world title in any discipline, breaking the record set by 38-year-old Ludowika Jacobsen 101 years prior. Cool.
Crazy.
It's insane. It's
insane.
Crazy.
It was, and their warm-up was a hot mess disaster for the
Yes.
Do you remember that?
They were so tight.
It was I don't think she got a triple sow done. That it was really a mess, and it all came together for them, and it was really infectious in the building. We have Maria Pavlova and Alexei Savchenko. They teamed up in November 22, so recently, right after Maria's partnership with Balazs Nagy, who American pair fans will know because he now skates with Audrey Shen. This team is technically so solid, but they have programs, especially in their first season, that are very junior. They don't show any pair skating. They're pointing and flexing. But their technical proficiency, I know Adam loves them, really gets them some great results. However,
he loves
not
her.
results. Okay.
I love her specifically.
Okay, great. Yeah, she's nice. She's a nice girl.
I've never met her, and I don't need to because
you could have met her at the World's Banquet this year when you were embarrassing me with trivia.
That's right. I could have done that.
You could have, but you didn't.
No, I chose not to. Don't meet your heroes.
Yeah, that's true.
Pavlova, the pirate.
They just don't make mistakes. They're great, but their programs need a facelift, in my opinion. They go to Europeans. They finish fourth. They're freaking pissed. at the scores. They're visibly shaking their heads in the kiss and cry. Maria's quoted saying, "Our motivation goes down every time we keep getting these scores." The scores to me are very fair. They have a solid World Championships. They finish 4th. Worlds goes like this. Deanna Max, Riku Ryuchi, Minerva Nikita, Maria Alexei, and Annika Haka and Robert Kunkel, a German team also at Bergamo Ice Lab, with Andrei Hotarek as their coach, finish 5th. Sarah Nicolo have a difficult Worlds, they're 6th. We're into our final season, and I just want to start it with a little note by Alexander Galyamov, because he messages Luna Hendricks on Instagram in the spring of 2024, and he says that she was probably afraid to respond in case it was fake. Says he also messaged her on WhatsApp, but the conversation didn't really take off. He says, "I didn't delete my message, so she still has time to reply."
Maybe he was hoping she would ask if his wrist is okay.
To the chagrin of Tamara Moskovina. Oh, here he goes again. It worked.
It's like, you have to stop messaging girls.
Yeah,
They don't
to get
care
them to
about
ask
your
about your
fucking
wrist.
wrist.
We are in our last year. Let's get this thing done.
Let's.
Minnie and Nikita start this season by winning Nebelhorn over the reigning world champions, Deanna and Max. They go on to compete at a challenger in Nice, and when the event gets canceled after the short, they come home and post a video on Instagram of them in their costumes doing a clean long program because they wanted to do a long at the competition. They mean business. They win their first Grand Prix, their second to Conti Machi in the second one, after Nikita falls on the step sequence, but they do win Grand Prix final for the second year in a row and followed up with a gold medal at the European Championships, their first one. Sarah and Nicolo were also amazing at this European Championships this past year, so it was really, really fun to watch. Minnie and Nikita have one of my favorite shorts of the season. Kind of falls flat in Boston, though. We'll get there in a second. Riku and Ryuchi are choreographed this year for the first time by Shaylin Bourne and Marie-France Dubray. Them and Shaylin Bourne specifically is magic. They do their short to Paint It Black, and it is so sick. It is so good.
Crazy.
It is so crazy good. When I asked them, I can't remember where we were that I saw them, but I asked them if they were going to, maybe it was at Worlds, if they were going to keep the short. They were like, "It's so hard. We like it, but it's so hard." And you could tell it challenged them, and I'm sure this year's they got a new one. I'm sure it's equally as hard and equally as amazing. But I was happy for them to get kind of pushed out of their comfort zone, and they really saw the benefit of it. They compete in the Grand Prix Series for the first time since 2 seasons ago because of their injuries. They qualified to the final. They finished second behind the Germans. At Worlds in Boston, this short program is the short of the night. It has them in first. Sarah and Nicolo skate their free program this year to Papa Can You Hear Me as a tribute to her late father who died during the COVID pandemic and to his grandfather. They start the season with a different short, but change it to Carmen at the suggestion of Nico's girlfriend.
Brave girlfriend.
It really suits them, and I fucking love it.
Brave and smart.
In this Carmen program, she lands a throw and then does a clap over her head, and it's my favorite thing in pair skating right now. I just think she's such a queen. I like this team so much. They actually end up second in the short, which with maybe their short may have been the short of the night for me. It was close with the Japanese. Deanna and Max have a hard year. Deanna's granted Canadian citizenship in December of 2024. It's a huge relief for them. Deanna describes it as having felt internally such a huge ignited fire, such a belief in the possibility that this crazy, wild dream I have, it can actually happen now. Their season is tough. They have 2 programs that just are not really it. They're doing a Beyonce cover in the short. It's not
a dirge.
Working.
It's a dirge.
Yes, it's
No,
tough.
yeah, you can't, with something so recent, you can't skate a cover.
No, it's hard. It's really hard.
You have to be really careful.
And they
Yeah.
keep trying, they keep going home after competitions, and then they're saying, "We worked on it a lot, it's different." It's not. They do this long program to, I don't know, it's a water theme. I don't really relate to it personally. It's not doing it for me either. It just seems like not the same effectiveness. And sometimes that can happen when you have a season, when you have 2 really amazing programs. It can be really hard and really pressure-filled to find programs that will do the same thing for you in the following year. They are really skating poorly throughout this season. They lose the free program at Canadians to Leah Pereira and Trent Michaud. Leah and Trent only in their third season together. Trent Michaud used to skate with Evelyn Walsh for Canada, but Leah and Trent have been fairly competitive on the world stage and have been kind of working their way up. They, as I mentioned, they win the long at Canadians. Deanna and Max still win the competition overall, but it's just not what they're looking for going into trying to defend their world title. We see Ellie Cam and Danny O'Shea. They're an American pair team that started skating together in 22-23. Danny was a very accomplished pair skater with Tara Kane and had a brief partnership as well with Chelsea Liu before starting to coach with Drew Meekins and Natalia Mishkuchnik in Colorado Springs. He decided to give pair skating another go with Ellie when he was just skating with her for fun to keep her pair skills up, but they looked really good, and Drew encouraged them to try it. They have quite a huge age difference, which is a bit uncharacteristic, though we do see it from time to time. They do amazing dance lifts and transitional movements. Their quality and what makes them special is not in their elements, but is in everything that they do between. And once they figure out the technical elements, primarily the throws, they will be super dangerous. They're already doing well. They qualify to final this year in their 5th. He skates on a broken foot at Worlds at home in Boston, comes 7th with their teammates Elisa Efimova and Misha Mitrofanov coming 6th. They've secured 3 spots for the U.S. team at Olympics next year, which is
almost
huge.
If someone goes to the qualifying competition and gets it.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Sarah. Thank you. Yeah, someone has to earn that. But it
still was amazing that they were,
yeah, they earned the
opportunity.
Yeah. For 3. So that's great. The championship goes to Riku and Ryuichi. They have a little bit of an underwhelming free program, but they're around 6 points ahead of the Germans in the short, and the Germans really do have the free program of the night until the final lift comes down early. They lose a level. It's an element they probably have never missed before. This likely is what loses them the World Championships.
It was like less than a point that they lost by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like it was their season to do it. They're going to be so hungry for it next season. But I also hear great things from Riku and Ryuichi and their programs this year. They were training in Montreal while getting them done, and great things coming out of that camp from what they were doing. This means that Bruno Marcotte had the world champions in 2016 and Boston 2025 with Megan Duhamel and Eric Radford, and now Riku Miura and Ryuichi Kihara. It's very, very, very cool and an amazing feat. We also have our last team we'll mention, because they'll definitely be relevant next season, is Anastasia Metelkina and Luka Berulava of Georgia. These are 2 Russian-born skaters that were both one half of 2 Georgian teams who both were selected to go to the 2022 Olympics. Let me explain. Anastasia skated with Danielle Parkman, who now skates with for USA with Katie McBeath. And Luka
I didn't know that.
What didn't you know?
I didn't know that she used to skate with Danielle Parkman.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
She did. They were first selected to go to the Olympics. And Luka skated with Karina Safina. So at first, Anastasia Metelkina and Danielle Parkman were selected to be the one Georgian team at the Olympics, and then for reasons that were not put out in the media, they were withdrawn, and Karina Safina and Luka Berulava were selected to go. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting that now these teams have come together, and only one of them went to the Olympics, but both were selected to go. They're 2-time junior world champions in 2024 and 2025, though 2025 was somewhat controversial because Luka's 22. They've just changed the age to 23 that you can compete in junior until, but it's a little bit sketchy because they've just come 3rd at Europeans, and then they're going to junior worlds to try to win. So the rules allow them to do it. It feels a little bit crazy, but of course they are within their rights. At Worlds in Boston, they're 4th in the short with their short program that they've brought back from last year. It's quirky.
It's fun.
Sure.
It's fun.
It's fun. It doesn't have any choreography until the step sequence. I have a hard time with that.
I like the costumes, I should say.
Yeah.
Most importantly.
And then The long program.
And the pair elements are very good.
Again, the pair elements are amazing,
Yes.
but watching the long from a commentary position and like writing notes, I was writing like they didn't do anything besides a C-step or a mohawk and crossovers forward and backward until like element 6, which is crazy. But we cannot deny their excellence in pair skating. They're excellent, excellent pair skaters. So Anastasia and Luca are definitely in the running for next year. The World 2025 results look like this. Riku Ryuichi, Minerva Nikita, Sarah Nicolo, Metelkina Berilava, 5th Deanna and Max. 6th and 7th are the American teams. Elisa and Misha are 6th, which it is not likely Elisa will get citizenship. And Ellie and Danny are 7th. It is announced that Sui and Han will return to competition again. No one is happier than me. Who is going to win the Olympics?
Are you asking us?
Adam.
I think Sui and Han.
Sarah.
Riku and Ryuichi.
Okay.
Kirsten.
I'm going Minerva Nikita.
Here's what I'm going to
Wow.
say about Sui and Han. And by the way, no one would be, maybe Kirsten would be, but I would be so
happy.
thrilled if they won, by the way. But speaking of hurt guys, those are 2 of them. Those 2.
Yeah.
Both.
Well, you know,
are
Sarah,
hurt guys.
hurt people hurt
people. That's true.
So, I think I feel some hesitance about predicting an Olympic title for them when they haven't competed in 3.5 years. And
That's
they
how I
both,
feel too.
Fought through so many injuries to get to that Olympic title in the first place.
And pairs has changed.
Yeah.
It has changed, but I feel that like sometimes when you have these like nagging injuries that, I think of somebody like Deanna, who had this like awful hip injury that she could not get over when she was a teenager. And she took more than a few years off, but she fully healed that injury. And I almost wonder if that time that they took off after the Olympics, that all of these little nagging things that they were able to address, and then they get on the ice and it's like, why not?
I hope so. I hope you're right.
Yeah, I hope you're right too. I also want it for Minnie and Nikita. I also want it for Riku and Rita. Look, I want all these
I want it for
teams
Deanna and Max. Like, there's not
totally
bad options in this group of people for the most part.
No.
Like, it's, yeah. And I do think as much as pairs maybe has changed, I think Sui and Han, the way they ended in 2022, left in a good position to still adapt and be modern with what the teams are doing right now. Like, I don't think...
Totally.
I think if they stopped in 2018, we'd be having a different conversation.
You're right.
It's 2022 is not that long ago. And with the absence of the Russians also, it's like, it's a climbable mountain, I think.
Yeah. I'm sorry, that was so long.
Don't be sorry.
No, people are going to they love when they're so long.
I know. I'm one of those people. I'm going on like day 5 of Dance Lore episode 2.
When I've been listening to the Dance Lore, because those are all long episodes, each one I am grateful. I do get it that they're long because it's like watching a documentary. Like it's
totally
you just are able to keep it going. Like it's not and it's always exciting when you hear about somebody who smacks someone's head against the bar.
You know what? It really doesn't happen enough.
It doesn't happen enough. No.
This was fun. Thanks for having me. I had a great time.
No, it was.
Thanks.
Well, I had an even better time than you because I got to sit back, relax, and gasp.
Really? Because you looked bored.
I wasn't. I hope I didn't.
I'm just kidding.
Oh my God. I should have been throwing some. Oh my God! Wow.
One time you unmuted to say and then muted again. It was so funny. I'm sure there's a laugh in my voice.
I believe that. Well, because here's the thing. So when we're when we're recording this, pretty often, like Sarah and I will put our mics on mute so that like when Kirsten is talking, you don't hear like.
Yeah, or like random background noise if there's a siren or whatever.
Right. Or like my dog's literally WWE style wrestling in the back with
Is that why you keep moving?
I'm moving because my computer's dying.
Oh.
And I had to feed them. So I fed them dinner while this was happening. My computer
Oh,
died.
see, this is me thinking you're bored.
No.
Oh,
No,
I didn't.
no.
I knew what he was doing in the kitchen. I could tell
You're
he was
more
feeding the
accustomed.
dogs. Yeah.
Yeah, I was feeding the dogs.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they can't listen because I'm listening in my headphones. So,
True. That's true.
but they'll hear it when it comes out.
I hope that it's enjoyable to listen to.
Yeah, Kirsten, this has been so fun, and we're all so grateful that you took the time out of your busy day.
Busy many days that you took to prepare and do these. Yes.
I feel like 10 times more invested in the pairs event now.
Oh, if that is what this has done for you, I'm so grateful moving forward for the Grand Prix podcast when we get more than 4 minutes of pairs.
Yeah. Will you come back on the show during the Grand Prix to help us out?
Anytime.
Okay, all right.
I'll come back anytime.
That's really
I
good
don't
to
take
know. We're
any
going to hold you to
responsibility
that.
for the most recent Grand Prix season. I just want to say
I'm
that.
also going to text Ashley about who to pick in the what do you
In
call
the
it?
draft?
In the draft. Yeah. Because she is not good at picking pairs in the draft. She should have been listening and studying. It's what she should have done.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
actually, yeah. Let's see what she does with the information that we learned and what we do with it.
Yeah.
It's all love.
It is all love. Kirsten, we love you. It's all love from us.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.